Hello, team. United versus Spurs, Jose's return, of course, and the Merseyside derby. Joining me in a packed studio, not just the Christmas tree, we've got some presents for you, we've got some crackers. It's Charlie Adam, it's Paul Robinson, gentlemen who know what it's like to play for Liverpool, to, keep Liverpool out. How are you, fellas? Starting with you, Charlie, how are you feeling about tonight's games?
I think it could be a romp for Liverpool tonight. An easy 3-0. The pressure's on Everton, but for me, Liverpool are just comfortable at the top of the league, and it's going to be a routine win, I think, tonight for them.
You'll be keeping tabs, of course, on the Merseyside derby a little bit later for us. You, Paul, Manchester United versus Spurs at Old Trafford. How are you feeling about this? What are the chances like for your old club?
Very confident. Very confident going into tonight, yeah. The way that Jose's gone in, he's given players a new lease of life. You look at the way that Dele Alli's improving, his game's improving every week, and he's the type of manager that Dele will thrive under. From personal experience as a player, if you're under a manager for too long, you get complacent, and I think Dele was guilty of that. He was too comfortable. He knew what the routine was, he knew what it was day in and day out, and he wasn't being tested enough. I think now with somebody like Mourinho coming in, who immediately dominates a room when he walks in, he dominates respect. Dele Alli will have watched him win trophies at Chelsea, at Real Madrid, and I think he'll be the perfect tonic to keep improving him. And the way that he's turned Spurs around in a short space of time, I think it's exciting times ahead. Yeah,
certainly keeping the players on their toes. And of course, if he wins tonight, it'll be the first Spurs manager in Premier League history to win his first 3 games. So, little nugget there for you. Talking of even gentlemen that keep me on my toes, it's Michael McCubbin. We'll be taking all your questions tonight. How can people get in touch with us, Michael?
Get at us in the comments of this, and obviously on Twitter as well, at Football Daily or at Soccer AM, whichever you prefer. I'll be answering all your questions or putting your questions out to the boys in the studio. So hit us up.
Nice. And
hello, Christopher.
It's Dave Jackson, my Football Daily paramour.
Yeah.
Or Football Social even. Sometimes Football Daily.
Sometimes Football Daily.
Sometimes. I see you jump ship there. You're not an Arsenal fan anymore. You're a Brentford fan.
Well, Arsenal not playing tonight, so I thought a bit rep like the local colours, innit?
Anything for the free merch, eh, Dave?
Exactly, mate. Have to do it for the match.
How do you think the game's going to go tonight, mate?
Which one? What are we talking?
Well, let's talk about both. From an Arsenal perspective, who would you like to prevail in tonight's fixture?
Definitely Man United, because I can never say Spurs, can I, mate? And I think as a kind of like Charlie's, I can only see like Liverpool win in like the Merseyside derby. They're just by far a stronger team than Everton.
Where do you think Arsenal as a club are at the moment?
It's a very good question.
Because
that's why he's wearing that shirt.
Yeah. But like people say to me about Tottenham, I love the way Tottenham just dealt with Pochettino. They got rid of him, and Mourinho came straight. And Arsenal, we don't know where we want to go. We want this, we want that. There's just so many problems. I think at Arsenal above football.
Obviously they had Fergie for so long, and then like they kind of chopped, 5 or 6 managers since then. Like we should have been planning long in advance to when Wenger was going to go, because I think it was announced in April, and then we were kind of like panicking to see who was actually available to kind of come in. So I don't really think we learnt the kind of lessons that we could have done from like the Man United situation. Talking about Pochettino, I'd absolutely love Pochettino. Whether or not it's going to happen.
Would you have him? Would you take him?
I would absolutely.
He was desperately avoiding this question tonight, though, because he's Brentford shirt. No Arsenal. Arsenal not even playing. You take him? Would you think?
Yeah, I would definitely.
I don't think he'd go. I genuinely don't think he would.
I can't say I'm in, but
for the personal side of things, I don't know whether football side. It'd be he's a brilliant manager.
Yeah.
Wherever he goes next, he'll be a massive asset. Whether he could actually, with the family situation and everything else between Spurs and Arsenal, I don't think you could make that jump.
Yeah, he will certainly have his pick, won't he? Pochettino will be not short of suitors like the guys are talking about, and I'm sure that conversation will arise again at some point tonight. When we get a lull in the game, we'll get Dave Jackson's vision for Arsenal moving forward. Right, on to tonight's fixtures and last night's results. Of course, Manchester City thrashing Burnley at Turf Moor. Rodri was the goal pick of the bunch there, and 10-man at Crystal Palace just getting there in ahead of Eddie Howe's Bournemouth. Of course, Eddie Howe has been linked with the Everton job. We'll probably talk about that a little bit later because Kenra and Moshiri seemingly have very different ideas of who should be in the dugout. But on tonight's fixture list, it's Chelsea versus Aston Villa, the return of John Terry to Stamford Bridge. Leicester versus Watford. Of course, Leicester flying high in second place, hunting down Liverpool. Manchester United and Tottenham, our first game that kicks off at 7:30, so we better wrap this up pretty quickly, eh, lads? Southampton versus Norwich, bit of a relegation 6-pointer there. Wolves versus West Ham and Liverpool versus Everton, which Charlie will be picking up at 8:15 p.m. Let's go to the table then. Bottom of the table, and Everton they've got to be our focus there, haven't they, gentlemen? Just 2 points above Southampton. Marco Silva's job hangs by a thread. That's seemingly been the case, 3 or 4 times before, and he's managed to dodge the bullet. Will he buy himself some time tonight by being the first Everton manager, I think, in 26 attempts to beat Liverpool at Anfield? Top of the table, it is Liverpool sitting pretty. Manchester City, of course, yesterday's result means that they're above Leicester on goal difference. I'm sure Leicester will try their best to amend that tonight. And Manchester United, just narrowly in there, McCubbin, as a Manchester United fan.
Yeah.
What do you make of your chances tonight? Because looking at the lineups, which we will get to very, very shortly, you're kind of quietly confident, or at least emboldened.
Yeah, a little bit. I think the Spurs lineup probably isn't as strong as it could be, and Ndombele's on the bench. And yeah, personally, if I was Mourinho, I'd be putting him in there. But yes, Winks and Sissoko have been suspect as a midfield pairing in the past, so I think that's maybe a positive for United. Lingard's back in the United team for the first time in forever, it feels. That's
that a good
thing?
I
think. And obviously Pereira's been generally preferred in that position. Haven't been the biggest fan of him so far.
Well, there you go.
2 of those players will get in the top two.
confirmation is on screen now. McTominay, Lingard, Fred doesn't exist. Christian Eriksen and his on that right-hand side might fancy his chances against Vertonghen. That might be a narrative we pick up on in a few times, McCubbin. Greenwood, of course, taking centre stage, and Rashford in his favoured spot on the left. On to Tottenham, where, yes, Vertonghen at left-back might be a bit unorthodox, but Jose generally knows how to put together a defence, apart from that sort of second season at Manchester United. And it's Dele Alli picking up that 10 role where he's been so good in recent weeks. Lucas Moura's son, of course, playing on either side. I say, of course, that's been a recent revelation, hasn't it, under Jose Mourinho, and Harry Kane still leading the line. Spurs' bench, let me just bring it up. Ndombele, Lo Celso, Rose, Eriksen and Foyth. What a bench that is. All of a sudden, Spurs are not sitting pretty in the table. They need to continue this recovery, gentlemen. But, Paul, things are looking...
Sitting on the bench, which we all know. I quite like the way that Mourinho's handled him. He's gone, look, you're not playing well, your head's not in the right place. If you're going to leave and you're not going to put in a performance, you sit on the bench. I disagree. I think Winks is a good addition to the team. I think he's an outstanding midfielder. His defensive qualities and his attacking qualities as well.
Sissoko's in there for his mobility. Technically, he's not at Tottenham's level, but his mobility and he's powerful over the running in midfield against the McTominay, Fred. They probably could dominate in there tonight.
Decent in the transition. He's got good running power, like you said. McCubbin, okay, having confirmed both lineups, and we've already, singled out certain battles. Again, what do you think is going to play out tonight on the hallowed turf of Old Trafford?
I mean, my gut feeling is that Mourinho's going to do us, to be honest. I do get that feeling. It's just, I feel like the stars are aligned for a performance like that from Spurs. Obviously, beat us at Old Trafford last year. Scoreline was probably a little bit flattering. 3-0, I think it was in the end. But I don't know. I'm holding out for a draw, I think. But yeah, I could definitely see Mourinho. Mourinho's a better tactical operator than Solskjær. There's no doubt about that.
So, one of those United fans that's sort of welcoming him back to Old Trafford because, of course, he had 58% win ratio there. I think that was only second to Fergie.
He's just walked down the touchline and got an absolutely brilliant reception.
Really?
Back to the dugout,
on the
very
subject
well received down the touchline and by the away team bench as well.
It's odd, isn't it? Because a lot of United fans would sort of, not a lot, let's not tar everyone with the same brush, would seemingly, some of the more volatile fans on Twitter would say, seemingly happy that Jose Mourinho might be the one that puts the nail in Ollie's coffin.
I don't know about that, to be honest. I think United fans generally just back any manager. I think David Moyes is maybe the only manager who doesn't really have the kind of former manager that doesn't have the respect of United fans. I think if Van Gaal came back to Old Trafford, he'd be getting the same kind of reception. I think it's just something that's kind of in Man United fan culture.
Bit of a tradition, yeah. Ed Woodward's certainly back in his manager, isn't he?
With what he did, and he said, finishing second with this group of players is probably one of his greatest achievements. And looking at the squad now and looking at where they are now, you can look back and you can appreciate what he was saying. And winning the Europa League with him as well, and putting him back in the Champions League. I think there's a lot of Man United fans that I know that respect Jose and are very, very sad to see him go.
The problem for Man United, Pogba disappeared, who became a shambles at times. It was a joke. And if you're Man United, and I find it hard to see as a Man United fan, you say, well, I'm not too sure. You're Man United, you should be beating Tottenham no matter what. So I don't get it. Like, there's no confidence at the moment, and it's hard to say as a Man United. The Man United fans say, well, we're not too sure if we can beat Tottenham at home. Yeah. For the last 20 years, Tottenham have not been on the level of Man United.
That embodies the power shift, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Jose Mourinho got fired after only accruing 17 points in his last 26 games. If Ole Gunnar Solskjær is going to better that record, he has to win his next 3. Is anyone in this studio confident that Manchester United can put together 3 Premier League wins on the bounce, having only won 6?
He changed his system last week to combat Sheffield United. That shows where Man United are. Years ago, Man United would have gone to Bramall Lane. They wouldn't worry about the opposition.
It'd have been a tough game.
Played the system, and they would have beaten them. He altered his system. He played 3 at the back, 5 midfield to combat Sheffield United. There is a real power shift, and I think Man United they're struggling at the moment, and I think they will struggle in the coming weeks. And the thing for Solskjær, the fact that Pochettino is out there at the moment, looming over him, I think he was a shoo-in for the job previously. I think the United board wanted him, and I think he wanted the United job, to be completely honest.
McTominay is a big thing for him back in the team tonight. I like McTominay. Well, Mourinho was the one that gave him the opportunity, really. And he's a good footballer.
Do you think he's a little bit underrated? Does he get the props
I'm saying underrated. Listen, he's a good player for Man United at the moment, where Man United are, but at any moment Man United can go and spend 100 million on a player if they want.
Well, what do we think about the links with Christian Eriksen then? Because apparently they sent an entourage down to London, and then Christian Eriksen was, sort of hesitant over a move, wanted to know if Real Madrid were coming in for him. That put the Manchester United hierarchy off him. But rumour has it that Daniel Levy would accept a bid of 25 million this January.
He has to get something in for him.
At 25 mil,
if he's going to take him at United,
and do you sell him?
You have to get something for him. Daniel Levy's been a very shrewd and astute businessman over the years, and he's run the club very well. But allowing Christian Eriksen to run to the last 6 months of his contract is a mistake. They should have cashed in at the summer. If not, they take what they can now in January if he's going to leave.
And it's the same with Alderweireld, doesn't it? He's still not signed this contract.
And Vertonghen as well.
So they're in a position where, with Eriksen, if they get 25 million, probably not what they want. Maybe they want 40, but they should they'd take 25.
It'd be criminal to let him go for free for a player of that quality that you could have got 100+ million for in the summer. To allow him to be anywhere near leaving on a free, you just can't do.
Is he the long-term solution for Man United? I don't think he is.
Yeah, I mean, despite Jose coming in, he's actually since told him, according to The Athletic anyway, that he still wants to leave, and that's why Jose's left him out. He's left him on the bench here, and he played 11 minutes against West Ham. So it does look like...
We'll find it when the documentary comes out, won't we? We'll see that.
I wonder how Jose's going to react to them cameras in his office, because I don't think he'll react too positively.
He's the humble one now. Maybe he's enjoying it. Talking of enjoying, Dave, what's happening in the rest of the games?
There was a very good chance for Leicester, actually, particularly with the form that Jamie Vardy's been in. The ball was kind of worked down the left, cut back to him. He was open just inside the area. He had a good couple of seconds space and time, and he blazed it over. It was a really, really big chance for Leicester.
That's highlighted the 4 games. Anything else from the others, or
the rest of them are basically just the rest of them just died. There might be a little chance of West Ham. No, it's snuffed out by Wolves. Chelsea currently on the attack.
There we go. Stay with Dave then.
Good save by the Aston Villa goalkeeper. Really well worked in the Chelsea midfield, out to William. Managed to get a shot away. It was a good save by the Villa goalkeeper.
This is a bit of a worry for me, Southampton. The crowd. There's a little bit of a turmoil there at the moment, isn't it? Because I think if Watford had beaten them at the weekend, we'd all be talking about Hasenhüttl maybe losing his job. And obviously Watford lost it, and Flores got the sack. So
he's got over that double header against Man City now, and he's got a little bit of a more favourable run, let's say. And if he gets another 3 points here, then you're right. That chat cools off very, very quickly.
Listen, Southampton have narrowly missed out relegation the last 2 or 3 years, and I think unless they're going to strengthen massively, they're going to be in the mix again.
Do you feel for him a little bit, because the squad is in terms of a Premier League squad, it is a little bit threadbare?
Yeah, threadbare, and he did very, very well with what he did last year, keeping them up. And I think he'll do well. He's got his work cut out this year to keep them up. So I don't think Everton will stay down there.
Southampton have been like Watford, haven't they? They've been teetering on relegation for a couple of years now, and this looks like the year that Watford possibly could go. They're low in confidence. I don't see a way out. And it's very rare at Watford you see 4 of the 5 managers are British for the job. Normally they have a decision made already on who they want in, and at the moment it's not happened, you know.
Yeah, the Pozzo family, their hiring and firing policy, can't really argue with it in at least their modern history.
It's worked,
because
hasn't it? It's worked for
it's
them.
kept them in the Premier League. McCubbin,
Yes.
have you got any questions for the gentleman on the sofa?
Got a few that have come in
Let's
from
go over.
Twitter. One's coming from Mike actually, and he's asked, and we were talking about Mourinho before and the kind of lift that he's given this Spurs team. Obviously, it's only been a couple of weeks so far. He's asking, can you see Mourinho lasting over 2 years at Tottenham?
That's probably about his lifespan, I would say. I think obviously the chairman and manager, there must have been a conversation. Jose works with ready-made world-class players. That's what he does. He spends money. Tottenham ethos has always been developing players, bringing players through from the academy, giving young players a chance. Daniel Levy's gone against everything that they've structured for 5 years by appointing Jose. They want success, they want trophies, and they brought. Oh no, it's a goal.
There we go.
Oh no, Rashford.
Yes, Rashford.
Marcus
Oh,
Rashford. Hello.
No, didn't need that.
Boys.
Oh, we had our eyes off the prize. We're going to describe the goal for you. Any second. Paul's going
He's
to
cut in from the left-hand side, completely unchallenged. Davinson Sanchez got nowhere near him. He's hit a shot that Gazaniga should save all day long. It's hit the underside of Gazaniga's body here, bounced on the floor, gone into the top of the net. Sanchez defending woeful. Gets done on the right-hand side of the box, breaks to Rashford, who cuts inside, hits it at the near post. Gazaniga.
Lovely.
Should Gazaniga be keeping that out, Paul?
He should save that all day long. I think even I might have had a chance of that even now.
Here's me thinking you're engaged in conversation with Michael and you described that goal.
Yeah, that's
emphatically,
bad goal.
mate.
That's the multitasking that
Yeah.
in the Premier League.
He's been done it.
He should not be getting beat at his near post there.
That's a
should
great
he?
start for you. Jose's off the bench already. Off the bench.
I love that.
That's not a good start for Spurs.
And just a quick reminder that highlights will be on Sky Sports Football YouTube shortly following the game. So make sure if you miss any of the big action to follow it up on our digital platforms. Well, were we halfway through answering a question there, or had we finished by the time the goal went in?
Well, he lost 2
talking
years.
about Mourinho in the last 2 years. They say he's notorious for spending money on ready-made players.
Yeah.
And I think he's been brought in because of the lack of success. I think it was harsh sacking Pochettino when they did. I think 5 seasons there and a Champions League final, I think it buys you a little bit of time. I think he was owed a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But it's a cutthroat business. Daniel Levy could see Spurs in 14th place, Champions League place fading away, if you like. And a club now of Spurs size is based on Champions League. If they're going to the new stadium this year, they don't get Champions League football next year, it's a huge, huge problem for them.
Well, with the stadium commitments and with the additional wages that they're paying Harry Kane, and they might have to restructure across the squad to keep their key players.
And bearing in mind they spent again in the summer.
Yeah, they need
Champions League football.
Players, don't they?
But to be fair, Jose went in there. He's on a win-win. Spurs were 14th when he went in there.
Yeah.
So they've beaten West Ham and Bournemouth. They're now in the top half of the table. They've beaten Olympiacos to qualify for the knockout stage of the Champions League. So he's had a great first week.
Do you think obviously like Levy? Obviously this is obviously like you're saying a big change in Levy's kind of approach.
Yeah.
What is it? 5-year contract is it that he's given Mourinho?
I think 4.
4 years, but still a big contract for someone like Mourinho. Do you think this could lead to an actual change in like transfer policy at Spurs in terms of the kind of players they now go for? Because it's a lot to spend on a manager.
I don't think there'll be a change in transfer policy. I think the chairman and manager will have had a conversation. Gary Neville put it brilliantly on Sky. He said it's a marriage that will end in the prenup. There's an agreement.
Marriage of convenience.
Jose Mourinho is one of the cleverest football brains about.
Yeah.
So before he's gone into Tottenham, he knows what's there and he knows what he needs to strengthen. You look at the front 4, you don't need to change it. You look at the midfield, you don't need to add to it. The back 4 and the right back is where they're weak.
For sure.
He will have said to Daniel Levy, look, I need a new right back and I want some reinforcements. I need X amount of million in January to do it if I'm going to come. Daniel Levy's probably gone, OK, you can have that in January. And then I genuinely think he's got enough in the squad with a few additions.
The difficult thing for Tottenham at the moment is, the big clubs are getting players in the January window is difficult for them. So I think Jose might just say, you know what, we could probably go to the summer and then we could spend a decent chunk in the summer.
Well, you say if he can't bring in players, will he push Levy to keep Eriksen?
You can't keep a player of like Eriksen who you can get money for who doesn't want to be there.
I think you could turn over Eriksen. I think you can get rid of Eriksen and probably suffer to the end of the season without him.
Yeah.
Well, they've got Lo Celso. Lo Celso is supposed to be the Eriksen replacement, right?
Yeah.
And
Lo Celso is
not
very
really
much
giving
like Lamela.
an
Very,
awful lot of
very
minutes,
similar player.
yeah.
Very similar player to Lamela.
But and as Jose had said previously that you can only play younger players if they're good enough.
Yeah.
And at United, the younger players weren't good enough. He quoted that the under-23s, they got relegated from the Premier League into the second league as under-23s. So how can you think that you're doing well playing to getting the opportunity to play in the first team? So at Tottenham it's totally different. They'll have younger kids coming through. Are they going to sustain a season in the Premier League? Probably not, but you could dip them in and out and bring them out. But it's his...
And one of his, I mean, talking of young players...
It's a free kick I was given it as
one of his sort of directives has been to get the best out of Dele Alli again, and we've seen a sort of rejuvenation in terms of Dele Alli's form in the last 3 or 4 games, haven't we? Paul, what is Jose doing differently, other than playing him, maybe a little bit further up the pitch? Is it a matter of man management? Like you said, things needed to change. Was that more so for Dele than some of the others in the squad?
I think Dele struggled. His work rate and the way that he's been the last 12 months or so has cost him his place at Spurs and at international level. But I think you can't credit Jose with everything, because I think Dele was turning it around himself. Yeah. I think he was coming into form. And I think the appointment of Jose just coincided at the right time for Dele, because I think he's a manager that Dele will respond to. There'll be that tight line of discipline and respect, and it's also Dele will want to impress. It's great when a new manager comes in, because the starting 11 normally, or the starting 12 or 13 that will be picked, 11 will be picked from. All of a sudden, everyone's got a clean slate and everyone starts again, as we've seen with his team selections, what he's had since he came in.
Going to stay with you here for this free kick, Paul. No point, again, because it was blazed over by Harry Kane. And I suppose when Christian Eriksen is not on the pitch, there's not an awful lot of options in terms of set-piece takers, is there, in that squad? Anyone else that would fancy over a free kick other than Harry Kane? Perhaps
anybody
not.
After that showing.
I think, going back to Dele Alli's thing, I think Jose's probably said to him, listen, son, you're 23 years of age, your career's
stagnated
a little bit. You're at a good age, you've played at World Cups, you've played in the Euros, you've played in the Champions League final. Do you want to be a good player in the Premier League, or do you want to be a top Premier League player? And if you think and you want to come on this journey with me, I can get you back to the level that I think you can be. And I think he's took a shine to it. And as Paul said before, Dele's probably the one that's over 5.5 years of hearing Pochettino, the same routine, the same things, probably got a little bit comfortable picking up silly injuries that he didn't need to pick up. And
Mourinho nearly got taken. He could get taken out then. Jose Mourinho's on the touchline.
Welcome back.
Winks took him out.
Daniel James was coming down the side right in front of the dugout. Harry Winks has come flying across, taking him and Jose Mourinho out. Daniel James has ended up by the dugouts on the floor. Jose the same, but he stayed on his feet somehow. But he's holding his knee, limping back to the dugout.
Jose made of sterner stuff, it would appear.
Yeah, Harry Winks has just done his manager.
Harry Winks getting nowhere near, nowhere near the ball there.
I tell you what, that's 2 feet as well. It's Dan James's head.
And he's right into Jose's knee as well.
So it's not the tackle that's done Daniel James, it's Jose Mourinho's left knee.
Jose's meniscus. Jose might be getting the first manager to get stretchered off down the Old Trafford touchline. Talking of Dele Alli, you played midfield in the Premier League for a number of years, Charlie. What about Dele Alli's all-round game, from a player's perspective, makes him so special?
When I was he was in it, he always find a position that was very difficult to mark. So, he was always playing on the shoulder of you. You think you'd get him, and he'd play in that. And that's when he was flying high, he was scoring goals.
He fared so well as a second striker.
But he was playing as the 10, yeah. And then at some point, Pochettino just put him on the left wing. And it sort of changed his way of playing, and he lost his way, and even in the England thing. But Dele Alli's perfect position is a number 10, causes so many problems. And if they can get the ball in between the lines to him, him and Harry Kane have got a great partnership together.
Yeah, just a very elusive player, and I mean, the game is eluding some of these Tottenham players at the moment. Dele Alli winning a free kick there. Dave, what's going on in the other games?
There's not much.
Good stuff. Always love to hear that.
He's been quiet in the corner.
Chelsea probably a better team against Villa, although Villa have looked a bit dangerous on the counter. Southampton probably looked a better team against Norwich, but again, they're at home, that's kind of to be expected. Wolves, West Ham, not really much on them. There's a chance of Wolves now. No, it's been snuffed out by West Ham.
Well, Southampton should be throwing the kitchen sink out here. Yeah. Are they a little bit inept, looking inept going forward? Is it a little bit of a stalemate?
There's definitely a bit of fight in them. As you say, I think it's almost like they pretty much have to win this game. Like they're at home against the relegation rivals.
That's a bad tackle.
And it was a very bad tackle in the Leicester-Watford game. I don't even think he got booked. So, and the Leicester-Watford game, Leicester definitely the better team, but still 0-0. So,
okay. Well, Leicester, in order to maintain their Champions League ambitions, will need to be dispatching teams like Watford. So hopefully we hear from you moving forward at the King Power. Dave, Mike, you got a couple of questions for us in the absence of any action in the other games?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, we spoke about Mourinho before, but obviously United winning at the moment. But Howard Anderson has asked, I guess hypothetically, if United lose tonight and against City on the weekend, is Solskjær still manager on Monday?
Why don't you take this one, Paul?
I personally think he's in trouble. I think he's struggling
yeah.
because they're so far away performance-wise and in the league where they should be. There's so much unrest amongst the United fans.
Yeah.
United shouldn't be where they are. The performances are the things that worry me, and the fact that the goalkeeper's been Player of the Year for the past 5 seasons, I think that shows where they're at. My personal opinion on Solskjær, he's a club legend and he did fantastically well when he came in. But I think the club were railroaded into giving somebody a job that they didn't want to give a job to. And I think his team, Arsenal, got to be careful of falling into the same trap with Lundberg, a club legend coming back as a manager. I don't think it would be the right appointment for Arsenal long term. Yeah. All they have to do is look up the road at Manchester United and see what's happened. The fact that Pochettino's out of work piles even more pressure on Solskjær, to be honest, simply because managers of that ilk are not often out of work, and they're not out of work for long. Arsenal need a manager. Bayern Munich need a manager. If Zidane gets sacked at Real Madrid are going to need a manager. Pochettino will be a wanted commodity, and that piles so much pressure on Solskjær.
Oh, that is. It's a good free kick this time again for Manchester United, but that's a bit of a raking challenge there from Sissoko on Fred. And I tell you what, Manchester United's 3-man midfield not looking bad at the moment. Manchester United are getting the ball up the pitch very quick in the transition, and like I said, a good option to double their lead here. Who's taking this? Rashford, owing to recent endeavours, Mike?
I reckon Rashford will step up, especially after scoring that goal. He's got something like 11 in 11 games or something for club and country.
You'd be in massive trouble without Rashford and this little purple patches experience.
It's pretty mad actually, considering the kind of criticism he was getting at the start of the season. Didn't really look fit, and now, he's pretty much the only consistent performer in that entire squad.
And of course, Martial picked up an injury.
Yes.
And he looked to be forming a decent partnership with Rashford, getting the best out of Rashford. Now it'll be interesting to see how he fares without his wingman in Anthony Martial.
Great position for Rashford, this, isn't it?
Yeah, imagine if Ashley Young took it and blazed it over. There'd be absolute pandemonium. Him coming back into the lineup, what are your thoughts there, McCubbs?
I'd rather see Brandon Williams in there. Obviously, not great defensively, Brandon Williams, but here we go.
Oh! Certainly much closer than Harry Kane's. Just flashing by.
I think it might have been a bit wider than it seemed.
Side.
I think he had that covered, lads. I think you're getting a bit too excited there. He definitely had that covered.
Oh yeah,
he'd have saved that.
Are you watching that sail by your post, Paul?
Well, I wouldn't have got anywhere near it, but it was there. Yeah, it was a great free kick, just curling away from him. But if you look at Gazaniga's movement, goalies quite often get caught taking a step behind the wall. He didn't. He held his position, and if that was on target, he saved it.
I love that. Not often we get, insight from a goalkeeper.
I think this is the first goalkeeper.
You're the first goalkeeper. What a seminal moment on the football social.
We're not footballers, we're goalkeepers. It's completely different. Odd job, innit? Odd breed.
What is the main difference in mentality between goalkeepers and the rest?
We're just strange, mate. There is a definite divide.
There is.
We're goalkeepers, we're not footballers. We're a completely different breed.
They're different breed. They have their own union, don't they? You know what I mean? It's them against us.
We go out in the morning before everyone else even turns up for training. We go and train in the far corner of the field out of the way, and then we're still out there when everyone else has gone in. And
because we need somebody standing goals for the shooting.
I think that might be
if
the
you can't
first.
be a footballer, you get stick down the ears. If you're not a footballer, what's the first thing you are? A goalkeeper. If you can't be a goalkeeper, what are you? A referee?
There we go. Very honest assessment there from Paul Robinson. And I think that might have been the first mid-show clap just for turning up there from Dave or Paul. So certainly feeling the love on today's show. And we have some lovely bets for you.
Oh, is it time for a prize
We've got some prize boosts. We used to do a Viking clap, but we lost the enthusiasm. It has been noticed, Dave. Right, they're telling me in the gallery we don't give enough beans anymore. But Harry Kane to score, a brace was 10-1, now 12-1 odds accurate at the time of recording, and they are subject to change, of course. See skybet.com for more details. You have to be 18+ to play along. And of course, when the fun stops, stop McCubbin. But
yes,
I imagine the comments haven't stopped, so let's have a couple.
Yes, so let me just have a couple, because there has been quite a few. Lukey Boy, a bit of, away from today's games, back to the title race. Obviously, we'll get onto that more when Liverpool play. But Lukey Boy's asking, Are City still in the title race?
Ooh, Manchester. What do you think, Charlie?
I would never rule them out.
Yeah.
I would still never rule them out because, you know, Liverpool's trip to Qatar and, you know, these games coming up is going to be difficult. So I would still never rule Man City out. And
it's of course the Club World Cup. You think that sort of heavy fixture list, this congested fixture list around Christmas could have a negative effect?
It might be picking up extra. It's an extra 2 games. You know, injuries and travel. It might take.
Goal!
Oh, hello, we have a goal. Sorry, Charlie, we'll come back to
absolutely
you.
lovely ball whipped in by Ward-Prowse, and I didn't see who the striker was.
I think it was Danny Ings.
Yeah, Danny Ings got his head on the upper end of it. But yeah, it's exactly what Southampton needed. They were probably the better team, as I said. And you know, when Ward-Prowse is over a free kick, you know he's going to put it in a very, very, very good area, and the striker attacked it, and then they're 1-0 up. And Tim Krul is doing his nuts. So I don't know if it was poor defending or.
Other than Southampton fans, I've never ever seen anyone get that excited about a Southampton.
Welcome to the Football Social.
Great delivery from Prowse, wasn't it?
We talk about how important Rashford
so
comes to
good.
Manchester United, but where would Southampton be without Danny Ings? I think he scored around 50% of their goals this season. I think it's something stupid like him and James Ward-Prowse have directly.
Goal! Another goal! Wolves have gone 1-0 up against West Ham.
Mid-stat. No one wants to hear about the stat. Onto the goal.
Onto the goal. Well, you have to give me a second because I have to rewatch it because I was listening to you.
I'll come back in via the stat, Dave. 57%, I think it is, that James Ward-Prowse and Danny Ings have contributed.
He's a very good player,
pretty much a two-man team at the moment. Danny Ings scoring
Gone for
against
Chelsea? No,
scoring against the big clubs, wasn't he? Now scoring against relegation fodder. Dave, can you describe the goal to us yet?
It was a
Wolves.
decent. Well, I've got Phil Chilwell in my ear, but he's kind of cutting out, so I can't really hear you. But it was a pretty decent ball in, and the strike.
Pretty decent.
And the goal at Chelsea! Tammy Abraham has banged one in. But I was watching the West Ham replay, so I don't really know what happened. But it is goals galore.
Right.
3 goals in 4 minutes. Fantastic scenes on the Football Social. But Tammy Abraham has got his what goal of the season?
I'm going to go for
Chucking under the bridge. 12 goals. I have no idea. That's 12.
So there's now 2 goals that you've got no idea what happened in either of them.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it is a goal. Oh, here's the replay
Dave,
of the
can you
Chelsea
get on top
goal.
of this, please? Bloody hell.
So decent worked bit of play in the Chelsea midfield. Ball whipped in. It's very tight, but Tammy Abraham, he's having a fantastic season.
Yeah,
he's just got his head on the end of it, and it's 1-0. 1-0 Chelsea against Aston Villa.
Of course, scored a lot of goals for Aston Villa last season, their promotion-winning campaign, so muted celebrations there from Tammy Abraham. But if I was sort of top of the Premier League goal-scoring charts, I'd be going absolutely bonkers. Did you describe the Wolves goal in the end, or
I
did we just?
I did. It was
Because
a
Charlie
ball
Adam was
whipped
saying
in.
you were doing the ball a disservice.
If that was me taking that delivery from the corner, I'd be delighted with it. Just horrendous defending.
Is this the man whose corners are worth £10 million as well?
Alex Ferguson's made a silly comment, didn't he? I think it was just to wind up Liverpool and they end up paying 9 million, so it was not too bad.
Well, you did some damage for Stoke against Liverpool. I remember you scoring that double.
Yeah.
Was it in
Scored a
2014?
couple of goals, yeah.
How did it feel scoring against Liverpool? Your old club. We see Tammy scoring against his old club there. Did you give it muted celebrations, or were you giving it
The first one I never celebrated, and then the next one I celebrated because, you know, it's the enjoyment of scoring goals. You got to celebrate.
Got to be in a moment. Yeah, fair enough.
Because you never know when your next one's going to come.
Talking of being in a moment, how are Tottenham faring against Manchester United? We've not heard from you in a little while, Paul. You've been watching the game?
I'm quiet, mate, because they're not doing too well. They're under the cosh a little bit. United are playing the best I've seen them play for a while. Spurs, they've got possession of the ball in their own half at the moment, but United are pressing them. They're having the better of the chances. Gazaniga's just had to make another save, and Solskjær will definitely be the happier of the 2 managers at the moment. United are on top.
This is what happened in sort of Solskjær's first run of games against Tottenham. United were very good on the break. Tottenham really struggled with their pressing. Are we seeing a similar sort of performance, McCubbin?
I think a little bit in the first half. I think it's maybe a bit more of a complete performance. I think that win at Wembley.
Oh my God! What an
goal that
effort there
that
from
was
Rashford.
from such a distance as well.
I think it took a bit of a deflection, didn't it? But great save from Gazaniga, I think.
That
to get that onto the bar.
All sorts of direction. Describe the shot to us. Describe the effort. That must be a nightmare as a goalkeeper.
I don't think that
that
took a
much
deflection,
swerve
mate.
on.
I think he's hit it and it's dipped and swerved. It's a horrible ball for a goalkeeper from distance. Gazaniga does well. You have to see a replay of it. If he gets his hand on that, it's a brilliant save. He should save it because it's in the middle of the goal, but it's an unbelievable strike by Rashford.
He's got that knuckle shot, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He just wobbles and dips like that. It's unbelievable strike. A good 30 yards out that was as well.
And the atmosphere is at fever pitch at Old Trafford. This is the most I've seen the home crowd enjoy themselves in a little while. Of course, results have been a little bit, few and far between. Although he did go on a decent run. It seemed like 2 or 3 weeks ago, Ollie was putting some momentum together, McCubbin, and then all of a sudden it disappeared.
Yeah, I mean that was
life,
away at Norwich, and you can get those results at Norwich, can't you? Because they're such an open team. But
You're very disheartened as a Man U fan, aren't you?
Not if you're Arsenal, not if you're his team, you can't. You ask him how difficult it is to go to Norwich.
Really tough place to go.
No, I think I'm just a bit realistic, having seen the cycle that the club's gone through over the last few years. It doesn't really matter about what money you spend. If there's something not right at within the hierarchy, then you're never really going to make the right decisions in the long term. But no, I do think, United have been a lot better tonight so far. And comparing to the last time we played Tottenham under Solskjær, probably a bit better, because I believe in that game that we won 1-0. Spurs were all over us in the second half, and David De Gea saved the day pretty much. So at the moment, Spurs haven't really threatened, haven't really had a meaningful opportunity yet.
Tell you what, Manchester United putting together some very good sequences in midfield, and that's not something we've associated with Fred, Pereira, and Mata. I mean, I was mugging them off. Let's have it right.
Rashford's up for this
pre-match, and they're completely controlling the tempo in midfield. And Rashford's not been short in supply, has it? There's the end.
That's a strike. What a great save!
Fantastic save.
That's the earlier one from distance
behind
from
him
Rashford
as well, isn't it?
He's just had another one that Gazaniga's just saved. Rashford's been outstanding tonight. He's got 2 efforts there that he could easily have scored from.
Paul, how satisfying is it when you tip one onto the crossbar?
Yeah, it's always nice when you turn around, it's not in the back of the net.
On the subject of that, actually, Paul, I was looking up earlier. You were in a game, and a similar kind of strike to that at Old Trafford, but from Pedro Mendes.
Yeah, when Roy Carroll fumbled it over the line.
What was?
Mate, I was at the other end and I could see it went over the line.
obviously, VAR's been a big talking point this season. But when you look back at moments like that, do you think that ultimately VAR is a force for good in the Premier League?
Listen, VAR's here for good, whether we like it or not. I just think the way it's been introduced it's been poor the way it's been brought in. I think it was a little bit arrogant to not consult other sports who've been using it for such a long time, to trial it in certain competitions and not other competitions. I think there's still an error of human opinion. I think VAR is great for line decisions. Let the referee on the field make his decision. And was it in the box, was it out the box? Look at it. Do it for matter of fact. Was it offside, was it not?
Yeah.
Because if you do something, if a referee gives something on the pitch and another referee's watching a monitor in the caravan somewhere, it's his opinion.
Sorry, Paul.
It's all right.
Carry on. No, Jesse Lingard unlucky there not to wrap one in the right-hand side.
It's all United.
I mean, the left-hand side of Gazaniga's net.
It's probably a good thing, because we can sit here all night and bore to death about VAR.
Do you agree with Mr Wenger? He's come out very recently and said that, he's implored the Premier League to use monitors on the side of the pitch. Of course, Serie A do that, and they're revisiting.
We have to. I don't know why Mike Riley and the referees made the decision that the referees couldn't use the monitor. They were saying it's for speed and ease, but it's not. Surely if a referee is unsure about something, he goes and looks at it 2 or 3 times, done. Yeah. Rather than waiting for communication, waiting for replays, etc., and it's still the referee's opinion on the pitch. It's not the opinion of somebody else. Because the thing you get as well, there's a hierarchy in referees. Like anything in any world, if you get a young kid like an apprentice with an experienced referee, is he going to challenge his decision? Dare he make a decision? Or is there some referees that would quite willingly make the other one on the pitch look stupid, or alter his decision if he could? So there's all things to factor in, and it's weakening the refereeing structure, because you're having to have referees from lower down in Premier League or Championship watching monitors when they should be refereeing it in the leagues further down.
So it's hampering the development of those referees in terms of getting live experience. That's not something we've considered.
If there's 10 games on a Saturday, you need 10 referees and 10 video referees.
Right, okay.
So then you're taking from the lower end of the Premiership, the Championship, and you're weakening the whole structure the whole way down.
Quality a little bit. Right, exactly. Okay. That's definitely not an angle I've thought about, actually.
No. I think that's why it works so well in the World Cup, because you had the monitor and it was the referee seeing if they had made the mistake.
Exactly.
Rather than, as you're saying, like if you've got someone who's inexperienced.
There will be an aspect to that, like anything in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Certainly could do with a little bit more accountability with the referee on the pitch in terms of making the final decision.
I don't see how it's not quick for the referee. We've seen it in every other country in Europe that use VAR. The referee goes and looks at it on the side of the pitch and he makes his own decision from that. Yeah. VAR is here to stay, but we have to work out how to use it in the best way. A
very sensible approach there from Paul Robertson. Have we got any, un-VAR related questions in the comments?
Yeah,
because
we can get them in.
We are in danger of overdoing it.
Too many. They've dried up a little bit recently, but we will go back through.
Okay.
Let's have a look. Bear with me one moment, Hamill.
Okay, let's go to the other games then while you're looking for a question. Dave, has any more goal mouth action happened?
Has a rolled shot? No, just over the bar from Southampton. They're definitely looking a better team in the Southampton-Norwich game. Wolves, again, definitely on top in the West Ham game, but they're slowly coming into it. They're starting to get a bit more possession, particularly in the right areas. Leicester, I don't know, just a ball tipped over the crossbar by the Wolves goalkeeper there. In terms of Leicester-Watford game, Leicester look a bit tired. I know they're at home, they're definitely expected to win this game. And kind of with that, I think that adds a bit of extra pressure there. But Watford doing all right at the moment. And then in the Chelsea-Villa game, Chelsea definitely on top. You can't really see Villa. They're not really creating many clear-cut chances. They're having a few sniffs,
just a bit of a deep block going on at Villa.
Yeah.
Well, Leicester will back themselves to the dying embers of the game, won't they? They've scored fair few winning goals, late goals under Brendan Rodgers recently. I think it was something ridiculous like they've only scored a 90-plus minute winner 6 times in Premier League history. 3 of them have been under Brendan Rodgers. Really? They certainly won't. It's not for a lack of trying as the game goes on.
Sorry.
Charlie, what I wanted to ask you about is Norwich's approach, because of course you were part of a Blackpool side that came into the Premier League and is, pretty, well-remembered, fondly remembered for having a real go.
Yeah.
Fulham, of course, did it last season, didn't work for them, and ultimately they changed their approach, under Ranieri, which, they might have been better with sticking to their organs blazing approach. How difficult is it to maintain that even after a good start?
It's difficult, but you enjoy it more. There was times where we were gung-ho no matter who we played. If it was Arsenal, Chelsea, we ended up getting 6-1 to Arsenal because of it. And our naivety probably cost us staying up because we were 2-0 up at Blackburn, 2-0 up at Bolton, and we drew both games, and that would have probably kept us up.
Okay, interesting. So you think there should be an element of realism amongst
that was just the experience.
Approach?
We got excited as the manager and as a club and as the players. We had good players as well, which helped. And it's just. It is what it is, but did I know score a couple against you?
Hoping this would happen at some point.
Well, you won't be on your own. I remember putting the free kick into the box for Chris Samba to equalise that 2-2 game that we were playing at Blackburn. I used to take all the free kicks in our own half.
Yeah.
Sam Allardyce was manager.
And we
used to stick Chrissy Samba up there on the penalty spot.
Caused so much havoc.
As you can. Just an absolute melee.
But they were the things like... So they were the small details that probably cost us, but we went and played free-flowing football and we enjoyed it. Some teams just come and I don't know if it's just a difference of the way they play now, but some of them just don't really want to attack at times and just try and counter-attack.
So you've enjoyed Norwich's approach, and do you think they should stick by it?
We look at Sheffield United. They're a perfect example of a team that has a go. I'm a big believer in, listen, you're inferior in quality. You may as well get beat having a go and trying to beat these teams rather than hold on to a draw or a 0-0 draw. You're better off playing the way that you know and playing the way that you can. Chris Wilder's done an unbelievable job at Sheffield United doing exactly that.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to have... Their system seems to make up for a little bit of disparity in quality in the squad, and that's not to slight any of the Sheffield United players, but these guys have played at League One level, Championship level, and he's kind of stuck with the same core, right? Just adding Moussé for 10 mil, well, of course, McBurney as well, who did well in the Championship. Were you surprised, as someone that's made the step up from the Championship to the Premier League, were you surprised how easily these players have done it? Or is the gap not as big as we make out?
No, because they work hard. They'll outrun teams, they'll graft, and you'll have that little bit of luck. They've got some quality players as well. Your flex, Lundstrom scored a few goals.
Edna Stevens is having a great season.
Edna Stevens, Baldock at right back. So they're good players. It's just, Chris has got them playing a way that they're comfortable with. He's not changed much. They go and they're playing, and they're getting the results. And
they all know the jobs. Minimum requirement is maximum effort in Chris Wilder's team.
And you can see that plastered all over the training. training ground, doesn't it? Yeah, Chris Wilder, probably at this moment in time, I know we're only 14 games into the season, but he's probably guaranteed himself a place in the top 5 in terms of managers of the season, isn't he? Unbelievable.
I think that's kind of what's going on in like the United Spurs game. They're clearly outworking Spurs here.
Spurs can't get the ball. They need to put another ball on the pitch for Spurs to play.
Yeah.
They ain't getting a touch at the moment. They've hardly been out of their own half. United are dominating possession, they're dominating the chances, and Spurs have been on the back foot.
Yeah. Has there been any silver linings for Tottenham?
They've struggled to get out. No, they've not really had much of the ball. United have dominated possession. They've looked to close Spurs down. Spurs' ball retention hasn't been good. Again, here we see Vertonghen trying to bring it out. Gets lucky on the halfway line, but he's got no options. He's just running into a red wall every time they get the ball.
I mean, no shots on target. Were you surprised, just to come back to Vertonghen, you mentioned just there, were you surprised that Danny Rose wasn't starting? Of course, he had some very public spats with Pochettino and with Daniel Levy, but not Jose Mourinho. Why is he being left out in a game like this?
I think Pochettino is loyal to his players at times, and they did all right at the weekend, and Vertonghen did all right at left back. I don't think he enjoys playing there. I really don't think he enjoys playing there, and I don't think he's a long-term answer. But clearly there's issues with Danny Rose as well off the field. He said that he wants to leave at the end of his contract, which, to be fair, in a way is refreshing. A player being quite honest, unlike you get Christian Eriksen, who's neither here nor there, not doing one or the other. Danny Rose has said, look, I'm done, I want to leave at the end of my contract, which is fair enough if you give full commitment and performances to the end of your contract. But he's been in and out the team, and there's always been debate over his future, so you just don't know what's happening with him.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly feels like more of a match for Daniel James's pace, but Vertonghen, an outstanding defender in his own right, I'm sure he'll do absolutely fine. There was a couple of games last season where they reverted to him at left back. I think I remember the Champions League in particular, where he did really well. McCubbs, we left you looking for questions.
Yes.
Have you found us?
Loads have come in actually recently, and while we're on the subject of Mourinho, Spurs, and this game in general, Matt in Full Vision has asked, do you think Mourinho can turn this game around, and if so, what does he need to do?
He's not afraid of making decisions, which is the biggest thing. You saw in his first game, the home game, he was 2-0 down. Took Eric Dyer off after 29 minutes.
What did you think to that as ex-player?
I think it's refreshing as a manager. He's obviously seen something that needs adjusting. Yeah. And the biggest thing you can see is it wasn't a slant on Eric Dyer because he played in the next game. He started in the next game. But they were 2-0 down at home. He thought, I've got that wrong, I need to change it, need a different type of player in there. And he's clever, he makes changes when they're needed. Spurs went 3-2 up in that particular game, and he made another change, which was a more defensive change. He's very pragmatic, he knows what he wants at a certain time. He's not afraid of making decisions, and he's very clever when he does it. If there's any manager that can turn a game round mid-game, it's him.
Yeah, I mean, he has got a long history and a pedigree of doing it and doing it well. Charlie, if you hauled off after 30 minutes...
No, it's happened to me.
And what was your reaction and those around you?
I was raging, I was embarrassed.
Just hurts the pride?
No, I was just embarrassed that the manager could actually do that to me. He brought me on at half-time and took me off after about 65 minutes.
Is that a long road back in terms of that manager winning your trust?
I was never going to play at Stoke after that. I was never playing anyway. It was only because we had a couple of injuries and I was on the bench. And Gary Rowett put me on at half-time and took me off after about 65 minutes. And I was fuming.
Yeah, and enjoying your football again at Reading?
Yeah, listen, it's been frustrating. The start of the season's been tough because obviously when I went in there with a Portuguese manager and I never played much and found it difficult to get in.
Spurs' first shot on target will come back.
Go on.
To Charlie. Spurs have scored, Paul. What's happened? Is that man?
Dele Alli, brilliant first touch and finish in the 6-yard box. Vertonghen's ball in, first ball in, right across far post. I think it was Sergio Aurier at the back post. Hit the ball. De Gea makes a great save, goes up in the air. Dele Alli gets all the space in the world that you shouldn't get in the 6-yard box. Great first touch, continues his goal-scoring streak. Spurs are back in it, completely against the run of play, but I'll take it.
Completely undeserved, and not like a Jose Mourinho side to do that away from home.
What a first touch, what a touch. De Gea makes a save with his right foot, he goes straight up in the air. Dele Alli's got his back to goal with 2 defenders on him. He just pulls it round on his foot, bounces, smashes it into the far corner.
That's the level that Mourinho said that Ali gets it. That's what class that's.
What a touch, what a goal.
I didn't see the touch.
You've got to watch that as soon as you can. You've got to watch that goal. What a first touch!
And you can watch the highlights, Paul, after the game on Sky Sports' YouTube channel. Don't forget about
that. Lovely segue there.
Yeah, well, almost professional.
They're checking VAR though. He's checking something. I don't know what they're checking.
Don't deny us that goal. That was an absolutely filthy touch.
About 6 yards.
What they're checking? I reckon it might be handball.
No,
that's not
don't
Definitely
disallow
not
that.
on
That's
ball.
off the shoulder, please.
It's over his head.
Come on, the
It's off the
footballing
shoulder.
gods.
That cannot be
Pull
disallowed.
through.
Don't deprive football of a goal like that.
For the sake of this stream as well, lads.
No, it's there. It's here.
Yeah, it's not.
Yes! Aston Villa have equalised.
Wait.
Get in there.
Mate, there's better things to talk about. Hang on.
I thought you'd received VAR, confirmation
Confirmation.
prior to us.
They cannot disallow that, surely.
Nah,
I think
I can't see him doing it.
Apparently, Jackson's hooked into Stockley Park. So, Dave, can you clarify the situation for us?
Yes.
No, not really what's happened in your other games.
Aston Villa have equalised. It was a very sloppy goal from Chelsea. It's very...
Goal's been given. Yes! Come on! Sorry, Dave. Back to Aston Villa versus Chelsea.
Very sloppy goal from Aston Villa. Very sloppy goal from Chelsea to concede. Half decent ball whipped in, and the striker's had a bit. But he's kind of fluffed it in, if that's even a term. But they all count. He'll be.
As if he has the absolute cheek to call himself Trezeguet. There's only one David Trezeguet.
David would never have scored a goal like that.
Yeah,
That was
apparently it's just an
toe. That went the whole way down, didn't it?
Can confirm.
So much against running play that Tottenham goal, but what unbelievable ability from Dele Alli.
What a goal.
In between your...
If that's Ronaldo or Messi, we'll be talking about that for the next 2 weeks.
Well, that's the sort of Dele Alli. He was producing moments like that once every 3 or 4 games, 2 seasons ago, wasn't he? When he had that mesmerising season as a second strike, and it's great to see him back. Not for you, McCubbin, of course.
Goal at Southampton.
Amongst the goals, but
Southampton again.
Yeah,
great for the neutral. We've got another goal at Southampton. They look to have wrapped up. You don't want to speak too soon, but a very, very, very valuable 3 points.
Yes,
David.
Ryan Bertrand has got the second goal for Southampton, and the manager will be very relieved at the moment. But they definitely deserve it. They've played well. Norwich, again, they're not the best at defending. They're very.
That is putting it politely, isn't it?
But yeah, it was again. I think it was Ward-Prowse again with a corner. He always puts it in a very, very good area. He very rarely wastes a set piece. James Ward-Prowse.
The English Charlie Adams, as some people have referred to him.
That is what
Thanks
I call
very
him.
much for that.
But yeah, it's 2-0 in that game. So
Lovely.
Yeah.
So the goals are flooding in.
Yeah.
And are the questions flooding in, Mike?
Sorry, there is one question from Ross Arnold. This is quite a general one, but he's saying predictions on the Prem at the end of the year, top 5.
Ooh.
5.
Yeah.
Top 5.
Everyone should have a think about that, and we'll come back to that at half time, because that is pretty decent. But
I think Liverpool win the league with 15 points.
Ooh, 15 points, yeah.
15
I mean,
points.
that is... So we know where Charlie's starting. For sure. Let's have a little think then and come back to that at half time. Paul, have Manchester United just picked up from where they left off, or has the goal rattled them any?
It's a lot more even now. Spurs are coming into the game a little bit more. But as I talked to you, United are on the attack down his right-hand side. Gazzaniga takes an easy cross, but that was probably the tonic that Spurs needed. It's a lot more even now. There's more of a game. Spurs look a little bit more settled and comfortable than they certainly did before, because that goal really did come against the run of play.
Yeah, great use of the word tonic as well. I will be stealing that in future episodes when you're not here. David, what other...
You missed something in the Leicester-Watford game. Jamie Vardy dived.
He is good at it though, isn't he? Let's have it right.
He is a very... what's the word? He's a very good player, Jamie Vardy.
Master of the dark arts, let's call it.
Yeah, let's call it that. So it was referred to by VAR, and originally I thought the referee had actually given a penalty.
Okay. Was
checked it.
A penalty decision?
Yeah, penalty.
A little bit more drama then than you first let on.
No. So as in the penalty wasn't given. He said foul, as in for simulation. But then he actually checked to see if there was actually any contact, and there was contact, but it wasn't enough for it to actually be a foul. So no penalty given.
Yeah, Leicester still, of course, desperate to break through. I mean, their record at home has been pretty formidable under Brendan Rodgers, so I'd be surprised if Watford get anywhere near a result. Although I do think Watford have been unlucky, actually, at the start of this season. They've got some good players in that side, particular, in the midfield. Capoue has had a standout start to the season.
Is it, or were they just playing like to the best of their ability last season, and also they overachieved last season?
I disagree with that. I think Watford...
They
I don't see it. I don't see it when any of the players. I don't see. I think this is going to be the year they're going to struggle.
Yeah.
I think Gracia was unlucky to get the sack. That might be a decision that comes back to haunt them. Quique Sanchez-Flores, when you've only lasted 3 months and there's been 2 international breaks, It's probably
That's
hard.
something gone wrong, isn't there?
Probably hard to instill what you were trying to do in the first place. But I do think it's not a foregone conclusion there, relegation. I mean, when I say unlucky, it may be unlucky to be in that predicament, but certainly
It was a surprise.
Certainly, they deserve to be, in the region of 15.
Just jump in there. The Liverpool-Everton game's just started.
Excellent. We'll be hearing from Charlie Adam pretty regularly. Paul Roberts has been carrying us so far. Been surprised at the impact that Divock Origi has made this season, and of course Shaqiri. I'm surprised he started. He's been the forgotten man at Liverpool, right?
Yeah, he's been out. He's had a few injuries the last couple of months. He had a calf injury and not really got back in. Only been fit the last 10 days, 2 weeks. So no, he'll have been disappointed in how his season's been because he's a big player to have for them coming off the bench. Yeah. He's got good quality to come off the bench.
Well, like you said, a lot of fixtures as well, and to have a guy like that, and he was pivotal to the last season. Scored those couple of goals against United.
We always thought last season that Liverpool's problem was coming off the bench, wasn't it? Compared to Man City's. No, this year it's obviously Naby Keita's come in and getting Shaqiri fit again will be a boost for him definitely.
And Big Divock has put together a rather nasty habit of popping up with a winning goal.
Only in big games.
Yeah. Only in big games. Yeah, you're surprised he's starting a game like this. No, of course, he scored the winner. Admittedly from 3 inches last year. We covered it on the Football Social actually, and Akinfenwa punched Smithy, which you got to really lap up.
Just love, didn't you?
You'd love to see it. But Divock Origi starting in a Merseyside derby.
Yeah, I think it's probably a rotation thing with Firmino and obviously Salah played a lot of football, and a few games coming up now. It's going to be a crucial time that they use the squad.
And a probably sad indictment of how much a one-sided affair this derby has been in recent times. I think the last time Everton won was 9 years ago at Anfield or Goodison in 2010.
99 was the last time
they won at Anfield.
Anfield. So, that's always going to play in your mind as a fan and as a player.
And this is probably one of the lowest league positions, if not the lowest league position that Everton team have gone into a derby.
Yeah. And this is a little bit more of an obscure stat, but over a 38-game period, this is the biggest disparity there's been in terms of points between Liverpool and Everton. So Liverpool have 55 more points in that time than Everton, which is almost enough to secure your 8th, 9th place in the Premier League.
And that shows that money doesn't buy you success. The amount of money that Everton spends.
The squad that they've got, you look at that squad, they should be far higher.
Talk to us about the transfers then, guys.
I think there's an imbalance in the squad. They've got too many number 10s. Sigurdsson wants to play as a 10. Iwobi could play as a 10.
Calvert-Lewin, Tosun, Richarlison. They've got an abundance of talent, but the manager just can't put them together.
Well, they've spent 450 mil, which I think is around 200 mil more than Tottenham in that time. And like you said, they're languishing the bottom half of the table. And I said Watford have been unlucky. I think Everton have been unlucky as well. Maybe I'm just a generous person.
Yeah, far too generous.
How do you line up that sort of forward unit then at Everton? Because there is a surplus of options, let's say.
Well, you look at Moise Kean, he's not even had a sniff. He's obviously had his problems off the field. He's disciplined, he's had a problem with the manager. The manager said he's not put him on the bench, he's not played him because he's been late for meetings and late for training. That's just not acceptable. A player of his quality has been brought in for a reason. And of his age, he should be coming into the Premier League, hitting the ground running, wanting to score goals, wanting to play every week. And he is a great addition to any side. You've got too many players underperforming. Schneiderlin's been terrible this year. The only one shining light for me coming out of Goodison Park has been Tom Davis. I think he's had an excellent season.
Yeah, great to see him back in the side.
I think he's had a really good season.
And you read things about him off the pitch, and one of the sort of great impacts is the way Tom Davis is kind of come back to the fore. Manchester United and Tottenham. It's half-time, in all of the games. So let's have a look at the Liverpool lineup before we go back to Charlie Adam to see how the sort of opening 5 or 10 minutes has unfurled. And confirmation there that Shaqiri and Origi have been brought into the front three. Sadio Mane keeps his place. Let's have a little debate in a moment as to whether he's the most important player at Liverpool at the moment, or is it still Mo Salah? That's pretty contentious, isn't it? And that very workman-like midfield. Well, we say workman-like. Adam Lallana definitely brings a bit of creativity to that midfield three, doesn't he? The back four largely unchanged. Adrian in sticks. And Everton, We spoke about how Marco Silva can't quite put together a consistent formation, let's say. But this is fairly similar. Can have the same sort of effect this time round. Sigurdsson starting next to Tom Davies in a central midfield position.
Here we go.
Oh, what a pass.
Let's quickly move on then from the Everton lineup because Divock Origi, the big game player, has scored a goal, Charlie Adam.
Yeah, quality. Great ball from Wijnaldum through to Lallana. Played in Mané, drove 30-40 yards with it and played an unbelievable pass round the side of Michael Keane, and Origi snipped in, took it past the goalie, 1-0. And the big man turned up in the big game.
This could be a long night for Everton after that start. This could be a long night. You look at the changes that Klopp's made. You know, left Salah out, he's put Origi in, he's put Shaqiri in. I think that's...
Lallana fed Mané there.
Paying a little bit of disrespect to him. He knows they're going to win tonight.
Lovely pass.
Absolutely. That's the confidence that the whole club has.
Yeah, he's more than confident they're going to win tonight.
What an outrageous ball, by the way, from Sadio Mane.
Quality.
So let's move on to the usual front three, let's say, the usual suspects. Sadio Mane's kept his place and he's shown how crucial he is to Liverpool there with that glorious assist. Is he Liverpool's most important player out current? Let's say Van Dijk aside, because of course Van Dijk shortlisted for the Ballon d'Or, even though Liverpool haven't kept many clean sheets of late. Still been consistently good, hasn't he? Scored a couple last week. What do we think, starting with you, Dave, on the left-hand side? Is Sadio Mane the most crucial man in that front three?
I would say over the last 15 months, yeah. Yeah, I think you know, like Mo Salah's record is unbelievable in terms of actually goals, but then like Mane's scoring just as many, and again, like it's almost like today he was a player that he couldn't drop, could he? Because he's so like important.
Mane scored big goals as well at crucial times. He's come out, you know, late on in the game, and he's, as you say, a master of the dark arts, for want of a better word. He's won penalties, he's won free kicks, he's scored important goals. He's been very important to him. I think you can't underestimate the importance of Van Dijk and the goalkeeper. Never in the last recent times do I remember two players having such an impact on a team since Van Dijk and Alisson have mattered on this Liverpool team. Yeah,
it really enables those fullbacks just to bomb on in full confidence, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the recovery power of someone like Robertson is incredible as well. What do you think on the front three? Would you have just opted for Sadio Mane out of the three to start in this game?
I like Mané. Listen, Mané's the one where he'd probably, when fit, will play every game, wants to play every game. But I think Firmino is a you know, he does a lot of work for the team, Firmino, and goes unrecognisable. You know, I couldn't believe he wasn't even in the top 10 of the Ballon d'Or. I thought he was that good. Do you know what I mean?
It's that role that he plays for the team, though.
Yeah,
it's not. It's just
an enabler, isn't he?
Yeah, he floats and he goes and by moving 10 yards, he can stop a team without trying to build up from the back, and he's so clever as a player. And
but does having a forward like that who drops deep make your job as a midfielder that much easier?
So much better. You know, when you've got somebody up there that wants to run around and you know, I've been there where I've had somebody that doesn't want to run around, but I've also had the ones where, you know, you going back to Johnny Walters, who will just give his heart in his sleeve and he'll nick you a goal, and they're the ones that you actually want to play with. They're a dream to play with. Yeah, the other ones could have a talent, they're more talent than that. But the ones that want to graft, it makes your job a lot easier. Do you know what I mean? And they're the ones that you want to play with.
For example, you look at Giroud in the French team. You look at the job that he does. His goal scoring record for his national team isn't great. He plays all the time because he occupies defenders. He makes runs. He works within the width of the box, and he occupies the two centre halves, the three centre halves, whoever he's playing against, to allow the talent behind him, Griezmann, Mbappe, people like that, to do the damage. And he occupies the defence.
Certainly worked at the World Cup. Didn't really work for Chelsea last week when he started against West Ham. Talking of Chelsea, how are the rest of the games unfolding, David?
Yes, mate. Chelsea, Villa 1-1. I'd say Chelsea were definitely the better team, but they didn't really do enough. You know, they had the odd chance rather than, like, you think them at home against a team probably going to be in and around that relegation zone. They should have really dominated.
Still haven't won, have they, since Jose was appointed manager, and Jody Morris sent that tweet out. So let's hope that changes tonight.
Leicester vs Watford is 0-0. Again, Leicester look a bit leggy. Leicester don't look as good as we know they can be this season. Watford will be very happy with their performance. They've worked very hard and kind of like, it's maybe that Watford have stopped Leicester from playing. like Romeo.
I mean, they are very well, they can be a compact side.
Yeah.
It's probably not happened enough this season. Charlie, you've had some time to digest the game now. What's just happened? Because it looked like Sadio Mane was through. Is that offside?
Liverpool dominating the game. You know, great run from the left-hand side inside the full-back, Mason, Holgate, Van Dijk, 60-yard pass right on the money, and pull touch. But Holgate managed to get back and win the ball. But that's all Liverpool, and this, like you said before, this could be a cricket score if it keeps going the way it's going.
Well, let's hope it is a cricket score, because every time Liverpool score, new people tune in. And if you are a new person on Football Daily, then please hit that subscribe button and send McCubbin your question.
Yes.
I'll come to you in just a moment, McCubbin. I've said a bit of a brainwave. So David Martin shut out on his Premier League debut, at 33 years old.
Brilliant, wasn't it?
I don't think many of us, from the viewing public, probably understand how much that means to him.
Yeah.
Can you relate a little bit more as a former goalkeeper?
Because he's not a goalkeeper that's played regularly at any club. He was at Millwall, and he was a second-choice goalkeeper there, and he joined West Ham as a third-choice goalkeeper. You see a lot of English third-choice goalkeepers because you've got to have a certain amount in your squad. You look at Scott Carson at Manchester City. You look at the job that Richard Wright did at Manchester City. You look at Robert Green at Chelsea. Third choice is genuinely an experienced English goalkeeper.
Andy Lonergan. Nick to move to Liverpool.
And
Is that the easiest gig in football, or are you still itching to play?
Lee Camp at Manchester United.
Yeah.
You look at that type of role, and he went to West Ham, and I don't think, in all the best will in the world, he ever thought he was going to get a game. First choice gets injured, second choice goes in. Okay, you sit on the bench. All of a sudden, you're thrust into the limelight. And what a brilliant day for him. We didn't have the best of games, but he didn't do anything wrong as such. It was just a great achievement for somebody of that age, and it's probably just reward for all the hard work that he's had in his career. The days that he's trained, he's worked, he's sat and watched football, he's done his time, and for him to have a day like that is something that live with him forever. For him and his dad as well. What a brilliant day. Yeah,
you've got to love those little narratives in football. That's fully what makes the sport, isn't it?
But listen, 33, he'd still be nervous. Still be.
He said that, didn't he? He said he knew he was playing 2 days before, and he was struggling to eat his Weetabix nut for breakfast. He normally has 2 Weetabix before breakfast every day at training. Sugar. And he said he just struggled for days before because he knew he was going to play, and he got nervous, and nerves are good.
Yeah, lads, what was your breakfast of choice then going into a match? I'm sure this is what people have tuned in for, by the way, but we're doing it. So.
Pre-match for me.
Gone there.
I'd normally have some special K for breakfast, and then pre-match.
With berries or without?
Nah, just straight there.
Just a standard.
To be fair, my pre-match has changed over the years.
It's fish and chips now.
It's changed over the years. When I was at Liverpool, I used to have some salmon and pasta and that, but now it's just a bit of scrambled egg and bagel or something like that. That's, I probably tend not to eat as much if I'm not playing, if you know what I mean. But if I'm playing, I'll probably eat a little bit more, a bit of porridge as well, and that's what I would have. Yeah,
I'd always have porridge. 3 double espressos and a bowl of porridge. That was me.
3 double espressos. Yeah. Paul Robertson absolutely wired for his games. Other breakfasts are available than the ones we mentioned. So,
what do you have
not endorsing any particular breakfast.
What do you have pre-show?
What do I have pre-show here? I had the salmon pre-show, and I've got to say I've been regretting it for about 56 minutes. So I've been holding it down, believe you me. But we can't hold the questions back, can we, McCubbin? What are we saying?
First of all, shout out to Radic, because he did ask Paul for his opinion on David Martin's West Ham debut.
Oh, nice.
We covered that.
Great question.
Just shout out to you there, because read Hamble's mind. This one's going to be for Charlie Adam, actually, from Orlando. Is the Merseyside derby the best derby you've contested?
No. Celtic Rangers.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. The whole incredible. Listen, I was in the derby. I was lucky to win one, but the Old Firm, the Rangers Celtic one, was just incredible. The atmosphere is, for a week before you couldn't go anywhere near the city because you knew you were just going to get hassled.
Yeah.
Basically get abused, but.
Does that add to the siege mentality?
Oh, absolutely! Yeah. It's brilliant. When you walk off that, when you walk off that bus at Celtic Park, and the Celtic fans are howling abuse at you, and you walk off, it is incredible. And you go there and you win, and there's 20 of them at the end of the game getting on the bus when there was probably 2,000 before the game. It's brilliant. and they're the thing, as a player, you actually enjoy that and have a bit of banter, and the atmosphere is incredible. But that Old Firm game.
Before these two out me, I am a Celtic fan, by the way. So how was life under Le Guen?
I loved it. because he gave me an opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, he was probably the one that actually gave me the proper start in my career. And listen, Celtic have dominated Scottish football for a number of years now, but it looks like there seems to be a bit of a title race on at the moment. Big game Sunday.
Well, yeah, for sure. It segues nicely into Steven Gerrard. What do you think about the job he's doing at Rangers? And is this his audition for the Liverpool job? Because Klopp, you know, if he wins the Premier League, what else can Klopp do at Liverpool?
I think he'll trying to get Liverpool to dominate English football again. Yeah. I don't think it's an addition. No, I think Stevie will. If he does the right things and he'll get the reward of trying to look at Liverpool as a manager.
It's a good education for
it's a massive education. It's a great job. It's a big job. It's 50,000 every week.
Yeah.
You're getting great experience in Europe as well, and as a Liverpool manager you're going to need that. So he'll be learning that.
Steve is a shoo-in for the Liverpool job. Every manager's got a lifespan. Jurgen Klopp is probably unsackable at the moment, and he is definitely unsackable for what he's done. And for the foreseeable future.
For what, 2-3 years?
At least, yeah, if he keeps doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
But you look at the way that Frank's gone to Derby and gone back to Chelsea.
Yeah.
Stephen is exactly the same with Liverpool. I will almost guarantee that one day Steven Gerrard will be the manager of Liverpool. Not in the immediate future.
Oh, here we go.
Second goal. Over to Charlie for the second Liverpool goal. It's that man Shaqiri back from injury. What happened, Charlie?
Trent Alexander gets the ball up in the right back area and drills a 60-yard daisy cutter, never moved one bit, straight into Mané's feet. He takes on the right centre half and he plays a wonderful pass through the defence, and Shaqiri makes that out to in run and scores the goal. 2-0 and the cricket score.
There's a huge inquest going on here by the Everton players. There's 4 or 5 players arguing on the edge of the box. Pickford's out there, Michael Keane.
What a pass this is.
Centre half.
This is sensational. It reminds me of myself back in the day.
Yeah, I was going to say, Charlie, you had a coach left foot.
Just left foot, yeah.
You know when
that's a quality.
You know when a
pass
goal
Mané.
comes of one of those passes and you think, yes, they'll be replaying my little
It's brilliant.
all day, every day. How much more satisfying is that?
No, it's brilliant. But this little pass from Mané is brilliant, and a great move. Shaqiri nicks in and gets the goal. 2-0.
His first goal since Boxing Day, by the way. Shaqiri.
Wow.
So a
Everton
long
are all over
time
the place.
in
Absolutely
the making.
all over the place.
Who would begrudge little Shaqiri a goal? And it doesn't look like Marco Silva is going to last the game at the moment.
I think with this as well, like, this isn't even Liverpool's strong set, and they're so much better. They're not even just like, I know it's a derby, you know.
It's because they're well drilled. They understand the jobs. They know what they want. And everybody, they've got 23, 24 players fighting for one thing. And that's the thing. There's nobody that go in their own little direction, doing their own different thing. Everybody's together, wanting to win football match for Liverpool Football Club.
Do you think, OK, at this stage, you've probably both been at clubs where this has happened, where the manager's future looks like a bit of a foregone conclusion. Does that start to seep into your mentality as a player? Do you start to, not cut corners because everyone's going to remain professional, aren't they? But do you start to think about almost the next appointment, so to speak?
Subconsciously you do, but a losing run's as hard to get out of as a winning run. You can see that this Everton team, for want of a better, they've gone. They're completely disjointed. They're arguing with one another. They're 2-0 down already. You can see that every single one of them players wants to get off this pitch as soon as possible. Look at arguing with one another.
Michael Keane and Yeremina, not great when your two centre-halves are arguing with one another as well.
No, it's not great, and there is a disgruntledness between the fans, the board. At the moment, I think it's who wants who as manager, Does Moshiri want this guy? Bill Kenwright wants somebody else? Who else wants who? Marcel Brands wants somebody.
Well, you look at the fixture list they've got coming up.
It's horrific.
Who would take that job at the moment?
Horrific.
It's horrific.
If I'm a manager, everybody would want the Everton job. But if you look at the fixture, you think, can we leave that?
Can we leave that a while? Yeah.
And who do we see that's on the market, so to speak, at current that would?
Oh, what's a goal!
That would take Everton forward. Hold that thought. Mason Mount just scored an absolute banger.
The ball was played very well down Chelsea's right-hand side. It was kind of like played in. Mason Mount, I don't know if he took a touch or if he hit it first time on the volley, but it was an absolutely fantastic strike, and it's gone top corner.
OK, we'll go back over to Dave. The replay is on. Dave, break it down for us.
Yeah, so the ball on Chelsea, I think it might be Willian.
Yeah.
He managed to get a little bit of space, kind of like dinks it in almost, and is it further?
Chest off Tammy?
Yeah, so maybe Tammy around his chest did the ball off.
Willian on my dream team as well.
What a start to the season he's had after being Chelsea's fall guy under Sarri. That is a chest.
That's a lovely finish.
That's a lovely touch
Fantastic
from
strike.
Tammy Abraham.
Oh, chance for Liverpool! Goal!
I was concentrating on that Chelsea goal. Come back to you.
That's Michael Keane who's just scored that
We all
completely against the run
We all
of
got
play.
sucked in by the Tammy Abraham assist. Michael Keane has just pegged one back for Everton, completely against the run of play. I am buying you time, Charlie, for the replay. Here we go,
It's a
break
corner.
it down.
Connor Sigurdsson back to Sidibe.
Oh, no.
Oh, there's a penalty.
Awobi cross. Bad defending and Michael Keane. Nice finish.
And to
Sissoko just giving away a penalty.
And to re-announce,
Oh, no.
yes,
What a finish.
the game at Old Trafford.
Great
Over
finish.
to you, Paul Robinson.
I wasn't watching
wow.
it, and I don't really want to watch it, to be honest.
He might be a little
Rashford's
bit harsh, this.
Rashford's just ran at Sissoko.
I think it's a bit harsh.
He's got to. VAR have got to rule it out. The VAR have got to rule this out. Rashford's gone round Sissoko. Oh no, he's not touched the ball. He's not touched Rashford
I'm not
either.
sure he's touched Rashford, but the actual...
There is some sort of contact,
the movement looks a little bit ominous, doesn't it?
There's no contact there.
I think there's some contact, but
This
it's
is
not,
where it's down to opinion again.
It's a tight one. Let's see what
VAR are having a look at it.
VAR makes of it. We'll come back to Paul shortly for the decision because it does look like they're going to go to VAR. Was there anyone to blame for the goal at Anfield, Charlie?
I think the Liverpool switched off maybe from the set play, this short corner, and from Michael Keane. Yeah. So
It's looking like they've given this. He's putting the goalkeeper on the line.
It's opened back up the game now.
What a shot in the arm that is for Everton, though. So we actually have, it's game on after Liverpool completely dominating proceedings. Hold on, attack
poor
here.
ball.
And that is it Alex Iwobi with a poor ball, and eventually Robertson snuffs out the Liverpool attack by he doesn't. He tried to handball it out of place. So Deeby's kept it in.
He's given the penalty. It's a penalty here at Old Trafford.
Okay, let's go over to Paul then for the
Rashford's
penalty because
taken it.
Rashford is stepping up.
Yeah, everyone's out the box. He's put the ball down. Very straight run up. Very, very straight run up
I
now.
don't like a straight run up.
He's
Henrik
gonna
Larsson
whip
used to be a
this.
very straight run up.
Do you know what? The referee's still trying to get players out the box. Has it actually been given, or is everyone just stood around on procession here waiting? I'm not sure this has definitely been given.
No, it's been given.
It's all the encroachment stuff. No one wants to.
It has, yeah. Rashford's just about to take it now.
He's been
Tell you
waiting there
what,
a while,
that's a
though,
harsh
hasn't he? Now?
I mean, if there's any
He's done, he'll miss this as well.
Oh, Alexander.
Rashford.
Nice.
He's rolled it in.
Nice.
Get in.
He's rolled it in.
Come on, Marcus.
Bottom right. Gazaniga went
He's
the
probably
other
the only one
way.
to see. Him and James are the ones that probably take responsibility, haven't they?
Yeah.
You know the way they've performed. I think James has been brilliant this year for them.
James is someone. Do you appreciate? As a man who was often, given the
Terrorised with somebody.
given the responsibility of putting balls in from left to right. He's 2-footed, isn't he? He's got great service. How valuable are
I had never
players
seen
like
much
that?
of him in it. They beat us 4-0 and he just terrorised us. The pace, power, and I'm thinking, okay, yeah, gonna
Direct as well.
especially for
So
what happened
direct.
when he was going to go to Leeds, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And Swansea turned it down in the last minute, and he ended up at Man United. And I think he's been brilliant since
And
he's
at the
been
start
there.
of the season when United was struggling, he was a shining light.
Yeah,
as well.
no, definitely.
He was
Him and Rashford have
shining
been
in a
great
bad
for them.
team.
I mean,
a team that wasn't performing.
Even though he starred against you then in the Championship, did you think he was sort of destined for a club like Manchester United, or did you think Leeds made more sense? Have you been surprised?
Of course,
to a
Leeds made
degree?
more sense to him. He should have signed for Leeds.
I always think, like, when you come from a team at Swansea and you're going not really showing much. Yeah, listen, he's a good player and he's done well at Swansea, but to go to Man United, it's a totally different step up. And Man United obviously seen something in him, spent relatively cheap money, 15 million. And I think, like Paul said, him and Rashford have been the best players this season.
Yeah, I suppose a similar. I know you played Premier League football and you were nominated for, players. Was it Players Player of the Year or just Player of the
Player of the
Season?
Year, yeah.
Players Player. So it was less of a step up when you went to Liverpool, but in terms of the size and the magnitude of the club, did you, when you went to Liverpool from Blackpool, did you feel ready to make an impression at Anfield?
Everton are in here again.
Yeah, I did, because I felt that I was playing well and I deserved an opportunity to go to the big club. the big thing for me was I had the experience of, when I was coming through at Rangers, I had the experience of being at a big club anyway. So it wasn't a big transition for me. I understood what it was like to be at a big club, and then going to Liverpool, I knew that I had to win every week. I was used to having to win every week when I was at Rangers.
Checking for a penalty in the Liverpool-Everton game. Calvert-Lewin's got in behind here. He got brought down in the box. They're checking VAR for a penalty.
Never a penalty.
That's more of a penalty than the one Man United have just got.
Oh, I don't know. From that, everyone unanimously has changed their opinion.
Everton are going to get. Oh, no, it's not. You see, it's opinion again. VAR.
I think the thing with the United one was that I feel like Sissoko kind of inadvertently stepped on Rashford's foot, and that's what did it.
Wasn't a penalty.
I think that's what did it.
We're divided on each side of the studio. Apparently that was clear and obvious.
There was the incident the other day in the Everton game, Chilwell. You know, they went to give him a penalty and he never even touched him. So it's an opinion of each referee, and it's totally different. And that's where the referee on the pitch has to go to the monitor to actually see what's going on.
Let's revisit kind of the the Celtic Rangers connection, but you know, segue into Brendan Rodgers. Did you think? I don't know how closely you monitored his sort of Celtic career, but did you think he was ready to make the sort of impression he has in the Premier League once more?
Yeah, absolutely, because he done it
at Liverpool.
At a point, he'd done a good job at Liverpool.
Well, we had Glenn Johnson on last week, and he said they were like whereas Leicester actually look like one of the top 3 sides in the country at the moment.
Yeah, but like you say, he nearly. Oh, that's a bad tackle from Alexander. You could think of, you know, can Brendan be the one to spoil the party? Maybe just losing the league at Liverpool, going there this year, maybe stopping Liverpool, 8 points difference. But listen, he was clever in where he went. Yeah. He chose to go to Celtic at the right time, dominating Scottish football, won a lot of trophies, and got out probably too early. Should have stayed for the treble.
Yeah.
But he felt that it was an opportunity to go to Leicester to try and improve.
It was perfect timing for him as well, because it gave him half a season, maybe a little bit less, to look at the players what he had at Leicester. So there was no window, he couldn't change anything, but he got a little bit of time to assess what he had, and it was a free hit for his first half a season. So look at what he had and then go into a window.
From a Celtic fan's perspective, Paul.
No, definitely not.
Absolutely. No, I'm talking from his point of view. Yeah. From a Celtic point of view, I personally at the time couldn't understand it, why you wouldn't have seen it through. But you can see it from his point of view. Yeah, but if you look into the future with the opportunity that you had for a free hit for half a season.
Let's go over to the Leicester penalty very quickly. Jamie Vardy, there was a little bit of deliberation over that, but he's standing over it.
I thought it was really harsh.
With a sense of conviction. Dave?
Yes, so Jamie Vardy stepping up against Ben Foster, and he scored.
That man is on fire,
isn't he? Fantastic.
He doesn't really dive Foster, does he?
You see, that's the thing, though. That people say goalies should stand up. And people say, why don't goalies stand up? Because it goes down the middle. Yeah. When a goalie stands up, you get that reaction.
Can't get away with that. Paul Robinson's on the show.
Just dive for
it. This ties into the next question. We've just come in. It's just come in from Heidi.
Nice.
They want to know. Paul, what was your tactic for penalties?
Penalties were harder nowadays than they've ever been, because it's more of a mind game.
Yeah.
Right. Breaking it down really quickly and really simply. As a goalkeeper now, before every game, if say you're playing Tottenham, for instance, Harry Kane's taking a penalty, you will have watched his 15 last penalties. You work out what his safety penalty is, which is basically in the 91st minute his favourite side. If his side are 1-0 down, he needs his safety penalty. You will have watched all the videos, you'll have worked out a way, you'll know how he's going to step up, which way you think he's going to go. He's walking up to take a penalty against you. He knows that you've watched the last 10 videos, you know that you've watched the last 10 videos. So it's now more of a mind game. He knows that you know, and you know that he knows. It's now more of a mind game. So if he's taken a penalty last week, you think, well, the technology out there, you can watch all his international penalties, you can watch all of his club penalties, as many as you want, and you work out as a goalkeeper, you get your information. Yeah. You see in the World Cup, even in 2006 when we got knocked out to Portugal, I knew who was coming up, what order, and what was their safety penalty. Ronaldo, when he scored the winner, his safety penalty, for me, what we'd watched, what the research was done, was high to my right. He knew that I knew, and I knew that he knew. I went with the safety penalty, he went top left. It's more of luck than judgment than it's ever been.
I was totally sucked into that then, watching it on the monitor, the cameraman slowly zooming into Paul Robinson. I felt like I was there.
Keep the kids away from the fireplace anyway.
Well, let's definitely clip that bad boy out. What a question, and what a breakdown. What was your safety penalty, Charlie? I feel like your game plan was to break the net every single time.
It just depends because I missed one against Brighton. They probably got Stoke relegated.
I don't mean to laugh. It's just very nonchalant.
And I opened my body. I run up and opened it up. When normally I like to whip it.
Yeah.
I should whip. You should not, like as a left footer, I always should try and whip it back across the goalkeeper.
Doing a bit of research on you and your debut season at Liverpool. You took a penalty in front of Luis Suarez, and I thought, what an honour though. When me and Louis share.
And also, in general, play where they are on the pitch, for that halfway line sometimes as well. So, it's there's a lot of thought goes into it that nobody really actually sees nowadays. Especially the goalkeepers.
How much extra
is available
as the spot kick taker, as the goalkeeper, do you have to do outside the session?
Probably the night before, and when you get to the dressing room.
Hello! What's happened, Charlie?
Divock scored again.
The clutch.
An unbelievable. He's come short to go long, and I think Dejan Lovren's pinged a 60-yarder right over the top, and he's took a great touch and half lobbed.
He scored more goals in the first half of this game than he has in the whole season, I think. There's 2 seasons.
His goals to minute ratio must be incredible this season.
It's brilliant.
What a player to be able to use, though. What a player.
Again,
it's a bit like, not at the level, but it's a little bit like Jesus at Man City, isn't it? When Aguero's not playing, they know that they can rely on somebody like that.
How easy is this?
It's so easy.
One long ball.
2 centre-halves, in between 2 centre-halves, long pass, great first touch, and a finish.
The Everton centre-halves are all over the place.
Everyone thinks that Dejan Lovren's just a butcher, and there he is with a cultured 60-yard pass. Could have been a deep-lying playmaker there.
Listen, I've been critical of Dejan Lovren this year, but I think his performances of late deserve credit.
Yeah.
I think he's keeping Gomez out of the team. Matip was brilliant at the start of the season, and I've been very
about Van Dijk as well. As a goalkeeper, when your centre-halves are performing to those sort of levels, you touched upon Matip as well. How much more confidence does that give you as a goalkeeper?
Yeah, of course. And I said before about the impact that Van Dijk's had. And it's not just the impact that he's had, but he's had the impact on the 2 fullbacks as well. Because he works with whatever centre-half pairing it is. Last year it was mainly Joe Gomez. This year it's been Matip and Lovren. He improves the player that's next to him. He makes the back 4 solid. The goalkeeper as well. Alisson's made a huge difference. And I just think somebody having the quality of Van Dijk, he's done it at international level as well with Holland. The young lad there at Ajax, gone to Juve now, De Ligt, and he's done exactly the same as he did with Joe Gomez. And I think he improves any team that he plays in.
You know what I like about Van Dijk? You never really see him sliding on his backside. He's always poised, poised, 1v1, never recovering, always. And that's what the top defenders do. You never seen Ferdinand sliding in or always
make it look effortless.
Yeah,
and not breaking a sweat. Well, where I was going with that, Paul, is I want to ask you about Roberto at West Ham, because he is getting absolutely hammered, both by ex-professionals, by the media at large. But his stats suggest that he's still made a fair amount of saves. I think it's 6 per game, which is pretty ridiculous at this point, because West Ham's defence is so porous. So where do we draw the line between battering Roberto and actually just saying he's facing a disproportionate amount of traffic as well?
He's facing a disproportionate amount of traffic as well, but there's goals going in that he should save. It's quite simple. You can't defend a goalkeeper when he's not playing well. And he looked... when a goalkeeper suffers a confidence crisis, I've had it a few times, you don't want the ball anywhere near you. And he was making wrong decisions, he was palming things away, he was trying to get to balls, and he was just in a rut that the manager needed to take him out. He got to a point where I actually felt sorry for him. You just needed to take him out the firing line. He was suffering awful confidence. He was playing terribly, and West Ham couldn't continue with him in goal. It was just a case of, look, the manager has to take him out.
33 minutes gone. Everton are about to make a substitution.
Well, we touched upon Eric Dyer and that whole scenario as a player, and it looks like it's going to happen here at Everton. Charlie Adam will let you know about that in a second. I'm hearing from the gallery the last time Divock Origi scored a brace was against Stoke, and you were in the stadium, Charlie Adam.
When was that?
Was he watching? Was he playing or watching?
Was he playing?
April 2016.
At Stoke.
I can get that information for you.
If you can, please.
Can you clarify?
If I was playing?
Can you clarify it was if it was in Stoke, if it was at the Potteries or elsewhere, please?
The Potteries, they've moved since then.
That'd be great. I know, but it's just a great word.
Hopefully, it had nothing to do with the goals then.
Right, so who is coming
think it
off
was that
for
Anfield.
Bernard?
Bernard come on, Sidibe come off and Bernard's come on, so change of formation for Everton.
Right wing back position.
They've got 4 at the back now, Everton.
If in doubt, 4-4-2.
Yeah.
And how,
I think
as,
it's a bit
how
of a
as
4-5-1.
players, do you adjust at oh goodness, nearly conceding again.
You know when you're in a
mid-game.
game, when you're in a game like this and you're getting a battering, you just need organised, and you're just hoping your manager can make a decision, or you're just waiting for half time, or you manage to make a decision that you could feel that the game's going to turn for you, because it's a long night then, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you feel you're under pressure.
What are they? There's still 10 minutes to
I
go.
mean, talking of long nights, we've not heard about Tottenham's endeavours in a little while. Has there been a bit of a lack of them?
Yeah, the game's still going on. Yeah, they've not really offered a lot at the moment.
Since the goal, really.
Is Manchester United looking
no.
comfortable? Or?
It's been a nothing possession. Eriksen's now. They've just gone to
Really
a shot.
shame.
Christian Eriksen's putting his shin pads on. So Jose's going to make a change. It's the majority of this game in the last 10 minutes has been played in the middle of the park, which United will be very, very pleased about.
Is this a bit of a reality check for Jose Mourinho and the job he has got on his hands at Tottenham? Because there was a period under Pochettino, maybe not in the latter half of last season, where they were confident against sides like Manchester United. I know it's at Old Trafford, but still,
confident
they're not being
with-
competitive,
I
have
was
they?
confident with Spurs tonight. I thought they'd go there and they'd make a real fist of it. They've been disappointing. They've been second best to a lot of things tonight.
Daniel James had about 30 seconds to shoot there.
And they've just had United just had another
The thing,
opportunity.
the worrying thing for Tottenham again is it's another 2 goals they conceded.
Yeah.
You know, that's another worry.
You can't keep winning games 3 and 4.
That's 8 goals in 4 games they conceded since Mourinho come in. So that's a worry already.
That's not changed.
I mean,
No,
Vertonghen and Alderweireld certainly aren't the defensive pairing they were 3 seasons ago. Do you think they need to invest in January in defensive reinforcement? Because, I mean, Foyth is their only option on the bench, but I mean, they let Trippier go. There's not a real a natural
understand why
right
they let
back,
Trippier go.
natural heir to his
The
family.
street
Sergio Aurier's
It's been improved under Jose, but is he?
going forward, he's all right. He's getting his assists, but defensively, no.
He doesn't strike me as a Jose right back.
To let Kyle Walker go, okay, because we've got Kieran Trippier.
Yeah.
How that transfer to Atletico Madrid came about so easily, and they were so willing to let him go, I don't know. So he needs a new right back. Walker Peters needs to get himself fit and back in the team. He was on the bench at the weekend, but he's not even in the squad tonight. Sergio Aurier isn't the answer. Vertonghen, he's got months left on his contract. Alderweireld the same. I wouldn't mind seeing Spurs go and sign somebody like Mings at Aston Villa. I think he's outstanding.
Yeah.
I think he's young
Yeah.
enough.
No,
he's
good.
a left-footed centre-half.
How much would he
which
cost?
gives
And
you
would-
balance.
Villa paid 20 million for him.
40, 50? But would
Yeah,
if you're
don't do it.
Tottenham now, do you go and sign 4 new defenders? Do you
get
go and
these.
sign Ake? Do you go and
Chance for
sign...
Norwich goal!
Oh.
I think it was Pookie. Pookie Party's back on, mate. Yeah.
It's Pookie time. What's happened, Dave? Break it down for
Basically,
us.
Norwich didn't know how they were going to score, to be honest, but the ball was broke down their left. He's taken a nice touch to put it taken a nice touch to bring it onto Pookie's and he's fired it in. That is his how many goals a season? I would chuck you under any bus.
Eight.
I can get him, mate. 8 goals. That is amazing.
I'm going to go for 8. I'm sure that gave him a bit more confidence.
That's an extremely
Emphatic
well
finish
finished goal.
there.
And now that game's back on because it was 2-0, now it's 2-1, and exactly what Norwich needed, and definitely not what Southampton needed because they looked actually in control of that game.
Yeah. Norwich not playing great away from home and Pookie scoring is a recurrent theme, isn't it?
Going back to the Tottenham defenders, if you look at Rose, he basically wants to leave. So they don't have a left back. Vertonghen's got no contract, he's at Upson. Aurier probably not good enough. Vertonghen contract out. So Josie can go and sign 4 brand new defenders. And it's like Paul said, Mings, Ake, they're the ones that I think would be good signings.
But are those sort of, you're going to have to pay probably close to 100 million for the pairing.
I think this is
Is that the sort of money that Jose is going to...
This is a conversation he will have had with Daniel Levy.
Yeah.
Before
That's
he
what you're
took
saying,
the job,
yeah.
this is a conversation I've had. He'll know where the weaknesses are. He knows what he needs to spend and he knows the players that he needs. I would love for Spurs to go and sign Tyrone Mings, no matter what it
I
took.
think he's
I think he's
top
an outstanding centre-half and I think he'd be a great addition. And go and get a top right-back as well.
Who do you guys think Spurs should sign to strengthen this defence? Let us know in the comments below. Of course, subscribe to the channel. If you are new on the channel, and keep sending Marco your questions, we're going to go to him next.
Yes.
Just confirmation there that it was Moura that came off for Eriksen, if you were wondering. Let's see if the Danish playmaker can make the same impact he did against Olympiacos, but that would be miraculous at this point. Paul Robinson, not a happy bunny. Michael.
Yes.
There's Jose, look at him.
I've actually got I've actually done a bit of digging myself. It was 4-1 to Liverpool at Anfield in April 2016 when Origi scored that brace.
Oh, there you go.
And Boyan scored
You were
for
at Anfield.
Stoke.
I was on the bench, was I?
I believe. Let me have a look. Actually, I didn't look at the lineups.
Yeah, I was on the bench.
Yeah,
Bojan.
the lineups not
Bojan
actually
What's
here.
happened to Bojan? If you know where Bojan is, let us know in the comments below.
He's in Montreal actually for Thierry Henry's team.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yes.
Impact.
You could even be watching.
Yeah, have you
I
considered
don't
that,
think he will. I don't think he will be. I think he'll be in Barcelona at the moment in a winter break.
Winter break, is it?
Well, the league's finished at the moment
of
over
course
there,
it is,
so
Charlie,
yes,
ever consider the MLS?
I'd love to.
Yeah. Oh, just pinging balls around.
Nah.
Social fan.
Yeah.
So if you watch it, obviously when
Into
Charlie's
Miami
done
would
with
be
Reading-
nice for Beckham.
Yeah,
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? That would help.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Definitely thought about this. Yeah, I mean,
Is David watching?
yeah, huge. A different climate from Glasgow. I think you might have to take your factor 50, Charlie. But yeah, that wouldn't be. That wouldn't be bad, would it? Right, what other questions have we got, Mike?
We've got a bit of a personal one here from Luge. Obviously, you were chatting about Gerrard earlier, about your respect for him and how he's doing at Rangers. Luge is quite keen to find out, what were your memories of that match, his final match in a Liverpool shirt where Stoke beat him 6-1?
Well, what I can remember was we were laughing and joking at half-time when we were 5-0 up, 4 or 5-0 up, and we were in shock that we could not believe that we were so far ahead. And Liverpool were in disarray. I remember just Emre Can running a bit like headless chicken. He was meant to be playing right back. He's playing left wing, right wing, up front, just doing whatever he wanted. And yeah, it finished 6-1, and it was just a great way to finish the season for us. Obviously, Stevie's last game for Liverpool, he scored a goal, and it was just, yeah, we were laughing and joking at half time, saying to ourselves we couldn't believe we were 4-0 up.
You ruined the final hurrah.
Yeah.
Did you chat to him after the game?
No, because they went to Dubai for end of season sort of get together for Stevie leaving. So.
Was it just a quick WhatsApp then? Did he leave you on red as well? Because he was just like,
yeah,
not having it.
binned me.
Double tick, blue tick. Going back to Rangers, do you think Gerrard's going to have to go deep in the Europa League to even be in
Chance for Norwich. No.
in the conversation for a job in the Premier League? Let's not say Liverpool, because I think there's a step between Rangers and Liverpool, right?
Well, I think the Liverpool's the only job he'd probably go to the Premier League, wouldn't he? Because if
I don't know.
Would you take?
I don't know. I don't think I can't see him taking Everton job. Put it that way.
No, definitely not. But would
I think there is a stepping stone between Rangers and Liverpool at some point.
What? Who? I don't think. Would he leave Rangers for a Newcastle or?
Not now. Not the
No,
job that he's
definitely
doing there.
not.
I think people who are outside of Scottish football or are ignorant to Scottish football don't understand the bubble and how passionate and how intense the football and the love for football is up there, and the size of the job that he's actually got at Rangers. It's a huge football club.
And the pressure on him is the pressure is big as just being as a Rangers man as being as a Liverpool manager.
Yeah.
You know, supporting Celtic, it's huge, and Neil Lennon and what he's gone on through the years, but what a great job he's done since he's come back. But the pressure will help. What defending from Dejan.
So Lovren's gone from spraying at 60 yards to doing what, Charlie?
Yeah. So basically, it's a Richarlison has a half shot cross, and Lovren there just gets his studs to it away from Calvert-Lewin. It's a great defending.
That's more by luck than judgment. That he's got away with that, and that could have ended up.
Yeah, it could end up in the net,
he
but
took it off his foot though.
He'll be delighted with that. But
Had to take the risk, right?
you got to, definitely. It was last ditch tackling, but set play for Everton where they scored a goal.
Stay with Charlie for that corner, and it's been cleared. Sigurdsson to put it back in, maybe.
Nah, and
It wasn't a great corner, was it?
Cross.
What's the art? Explain the art of the corner to us, Charlie, because a lot of people can't beat the first man that are being paid very good money.
There's a great counter attack here. Look,
There's got to be a goal,
Alexander's got a
surely.
counter attack there inside to Mané. 4-1. See that game over.
What a finish!
Absolutely incredible.
What a player.
Counter-attacking football for Liverpool,
Didn't even look up there, man, and knew exactly where it was.
Just
left foot.
The thing is, as they were running, I was shouting, I was thinking to myself, pass it to Shaqiri, and Mané's come from nowhere. You know, that's the hunger and desire from, you know, getting up the pitch, and what an incredible finish that is.
Robbed me of probably my best question of the night as well. Robbed me of the answer.
I think I might have to sit behind the back of this couch for Everton.
We'll come back to that in a second. Let's break down the goal, because that was sort of a trademark Liverpool breakaway, wasn't it? Like
yeah,
you said,
it was unbelievable.
Just arriving.
Didn't you? Puts a great ball across in. Van Dijk heads it away. Mané, look at Mané's determination. He starts it off, plays a pass into Trent Alexander, and Mané's desire and his hunger.
So much ground there.
Oh, and he flicks it inside to him.
The touch that starts that off to take it round the Everton player was
finish. Weak side
as exquisite as the
It's
finish.
on his weak foot as well.
Mané's 20 yards outside his own box when he picks it up, and he ends up finishing it on the opposition box. He's covered the length of the pitch nearly there.
He's getting better with every week, isn't he, Mark?
Nah,
he just looks unplayable at times. Which is not the greatest analysis, but it's just running out of superlatives for him.
You know, if you look at somebody like Mahrez in the top 10 for the Ballon d'Or,
He's not even getting a sniff.
He didn't get a sniff for it.
Yeah.
And he's been
off the back of
incredible.
22 goals last season.
And he's been incredible. It's just, you know, it just shows that, you know, obviously Mahrez done well and they won the AFCON Cup, but something like Mané, what he's brought to Liverpool since he come from Southampton, it's just been incredible.
I mean, going back to the importance of him over the last couple of seasons, and we sort of tried to pick one of that formidable triumvirate, I think his goals have secured them more points than Salah and Firmino's. So he is popping up for them at these crucial times, isn't he? And I'm not saying this is particularly crucial at 4-1, but he's been the thorn in Everton's side this whole game, hasn't he? Whether it's been down that left, he got an assist for the first goal, he just scored the last one. Incredible.
He's just incredible. He's a player that's high in confidence, and he has been since he joined Liverpool, and you know, he seems to be getting better. So I think if you look at the Liverpool squad, you know, Mané and Van Dijk are the two that are irreplaceable at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
4-1 up with, you know, injury time in the first half here.
We've had goals galore on the Football Social today, and if you're not subscribed to Football Daily, and you know you want notifications every time the Football Social is on, then hit subscribe, turn notifications on, and get in the comments for Michael. Come to you after we go to Dave. Michael, sorry, I lured you in there, mate. Dave, what's going on? 'Cause you're biting your nails, mate. It looks like a tense set of games.
Well, I'm hoping Villa can maybe nick an equaliser. They've just made a substitution. The other Trezeguet's just come off. But it's, Chelsea are very much in control, so it doesn't like it's going to come anytime.
Everton!
Oh, it's back on. What a game!
What's the point? What is the point of the other games even being on?
Yeah, mental.
Right, Everton, Richarlison, bringing them back into it, I want to say, at 4-2, are they back in it? Richarlison looks up for it. What's happened, Charlie?
They've had 2 shots and scored.
Yeah, 2 shots, Calvert-Lewin's got the ball there, turns, pass from Sigurdsson out to...
I think Richarlison starts that as well, in the same nature as...
Bernard, great cross left foot. And Richarlison, what a great header.
I'm not sure if it's Calvert-Lewin or Richarlison that starts that, but Richarlison certainly finishes it.
Oh, it comes off his shoulder.
Not with a plum either.
It looked like a great header, but it wasn't. It come off his shoulder there into the corner.
I'm sure Marco Silva will take them in any way, shape or form at the moment. But we've had 6 goals in the Merseyside derby in less than a half. Excellent
Jurgen's
stuff.
not happy, is he?
He's fuming, isn't he?
Yeah.
Just before half-time as well, 4-2. If you're getting 4-1, it's
Dead, isn't it?
It's totally different,
Right, it looks like Pereira's coming on for Manchester United. At that point, is that the game wrapped up?
No, it's definitely a game wrapped up. There's still only a goal in it. Spurs are still lacking for me. United that are camped in Spurs half, showing very little ambition going forward at the moment. Tottenham, to say there's not too long left, you'd like to be seeing a little bit more ambition.
Is Ndombele going to give Spurs that? He just came on for Harry Winks. He's a little bit more of a goal threat than Harry Winks.
Yeah, he's a similar player midfielder. He's got a lot more energy going forward, and he does offer. I don't think that Harry Winks doesn't offer you going forward. I think it's just a case of freshening it up. Obviously, Eriksen, he brought Lucas Moura off, which if you chase the game, you probably leave a player like him on with his pace. So he's changed a couple of things around, but nothing seems to be working for Jose tonight.
So in like the Spurs game, is it that United have played well?
Yeah, United have played well.
Yeah.
They've stopped Spurs from playing. United have played well. but Spurs haven't played particularly well. The combination of the both.
I certainly had visions of Jose, enjoying a glorious return to his former club.
I thoroughly expected him to win tonight.
And his record over former clubs, I think he's played 32, won 18, only lost 6. So it was in the stars, but Ole Gunnar Solskjær defying the sort of form book at the moment.
Would appear so.
Yeah,
thanks for that.
I could
just to rub salt in a wound.
It doesn't matter who Man United are playing at home. I could never ever think they're going to get beat.
Yeah.
But is that just because
No,
you
it's
think of
because
United when you're
it's just because it's Man United and at home it's a difficult place to go. And
we used to go there. You go there with teams, even Tottenham team at the time. You think keep it to less than 3 today, we deserve a point.
Yeah.
And it was a fortress. But now I think that fear factor's gone a little bit from Old Trafford. Teams go there and get results.
We had David Myler on, and he said that when he used to play at Old Trafford, someone like Scholes would just look at him, give him time, and then almost dare him to do something with it. Is that your experience as well, Charlie?
I always felt that in the bigger games you had more time and space, but when they had the ball, you got punished so quickly. It was unbelievable. And you just thought, you're a good player, and you could pass it round and jog it. One pass, Scholes just killed you, and all of a sudden you're 3-0 down. You're thinking,
we got beat 7 there. We got beat 7-1 there, and I was at Blackburn. And I looked up at the scoreboard, it was 7. I think there was something like 18 minutes left. I'm like, this is going to be the longest 18 minutes of my life.
Weren't you player of the season as well?
It gets to about 4-0 and you think, right, come on, no more, that's it, done. We'll go and win the second half. 5-0 and you're thinking, definitely no more, that's it. 7-1 with about 18 minutes left. It's a lonely old place.
I was going to say former teammate as well, Berbatov scored.
Of course, that was that game. Oh, gosh. I mean, was that in your first season at Blackburn?
I can't remember it all rolled into. I was there for seven seasons at Blackburn.
7 seasons.
6 very happy ones.
Oh, that's good.
The question actually came in earlier from John Boy 123, and it's Blackburn themed. Obviously, we were speaking about derbies earlier, about Old Firm and whatnot. For you, Paul, what was it like making that journey from Blackburn to Burnley? One of the kind of more fierce but less talked about rivalries.
Yeah, there's a real fierce rivalry. It's a really competitive derby. But for me, it was different because my time at Blackburn had come to an end. I wasn't used for the last 6 months of my contract, and I wasn't even in the squads. And for me, when my contract at Blackburn came to an end, in my head, my football career that was me done at that age. And when I finished at Blackburn, I'd retired. I finished in my own head. I'd finished for 8 months or so. It wasn't until I got something in my head, a little fire relit, and I thought, do you know what? If I want to do this again in 2 or 3 years' time, I can't. I don't want my career to end the way it did at Blackburn because it was soured the way that I was treated and the way it was finished. And I thought, do you know, if I'm going to end my football career there, it's a sad note. So I thought, get myself fit, started going to the gym again. Spoke to my old goalkeeper coach, Steve Sutton, who was at Nottingham Forest. Dougie Friedman was the manager, and I went into Nottingham Forest and trained for about 5 or 6 weeks. And there was a potential that I could have possibly signed there because they were transfer embargoed, but Dougie wanted the young lad to go out on loan because he couldn't carry a certain amount of players in his squad. Anyway, long story short, it was at that point where Sean Dyche rang me up. He said, where are you? What state are you in? What fitness-wise are you? How far are you on the way to coming back? Went and had a meeting with him on a Monday. Did my contract, just me and him in the office for half an hour. It wasn't about money or anything like that. It was just about getting back into it, finding a little bit of love and spark. Change. It was just an opportunity for me that was perfect for me at that time, and I loved my 18 months at Burnley. I thoroughly loved it. We won the Championship, stayed up in the Premier League. Granted, I played very little part in that, but I got to be part of a squad, to be part of the football life again, and I got to play in the Premier League again, which was brilliant for me.
And you got the ending that you wanted.
And I was able to put an end to my career in a happy way. If I could have done that at Blackburn with the 6 happy years I had, not the way I was treated at the end, I would have probably finished then. But I had a will and a desire to come back, and it just so happened it was at Burnley more by luck than judgment.
He's done a good job, Sean, there, hasn't he?
Oh, brilliant.
I was going to say how you said you signed just you and the manager, so he must have made a good impression. He's a man that's totally transformed that club, isn't he? Is he impressive in person as his resume at Burnley is?
He's brilliant for what he's done for that club and the community, because you forget Burnley's such a small community. The football club's the heart of the community. There's so much goes on externally that is used with the football club. To have Premier League football in Burnley for so many years, for the industry, for the community, for everything, it's such a big impact. There's murals of him around the town. There'll be when he does finally leave, there'll be a statue of him for what he's been able to achieve. On the budget, what he's done.
That's the real yardstick.
It's the matter about
that's the real
statues. He's got booze on it. He's got booze on it.
I drink for free in there.
Yeah. That's mine. If you ever want a pint, you've got to pay $3.50
in his pub. But the biggest compliment you can pay him is he's honest. Yeah. Whether you want to hear what he says or not, he's honest. Yeah. As a player, that's all you want. If you're having a bad time and the manager's not going to play you, you don't need a manager telling you lies or, we're changing tactics this week or telling you one thing and doing another thing on a Saturday. His door's always open. He's approachable. It's his way or the highway, but he'll tell you why it's his way. And you can tell by the players that he's got and the respect that he's got with the players and the way that he's got a team to work. He knows that his players aren't as good as Man United, Tottenham, Chelsea, Liverpool, but he'll find a way. He'll play mixed football, what he calls it. Yeah, he'll play longer balls, but he'll play longer balls with a purpose. He'll play them into an area and he'll put players in strategic positions. Very, very clever. I'd love to see him given an opportunity at a high level.
I mean, when a guy like Chris Wilder, who's in the limelight at the moment for playing a great mixed brand of football, to steal your phrase, says that Sean Dyche's Burnley are the blueprint,
the benchmark,
then that shows you how far they've come.
I think it's difficult. I think it would be difficult for Sean to leave because of the control he has at Burnley. It's the same with Eddie Howe at Bournemouth.
Yeah, he's got a job as long as he wants it.
Yeah, and the control he has,
who else has that in the Premier League?
No, like Paul said, it was only him and the manager in the office doing the contract. And before now, going to a club, you've got chief execs, you've got director of football, you've got your agent, you've got everything like that. It's different. Sean's in control of everything from the top and below. He knows what's going on, and if he wants to deal with somebody, he deals straight with the owner, and that's what football clubs should be about,
Great to hear, because he looks like a salt of the earth bloke, doesn't he? And he is confirmed by
his man management is second to none.
Yeah. I don't really know him, but I know Crouchy knows him really well, and he says he's top man. You know what I mean? He goes to a few festivals and that way. He just loves his music and that, and he says top.
Very, very family orientated. Really? Loves his music.
Great stuff.
And you play on a Saturday, and as players, the worst thing you do is managers will give you a schedule and they'll change it. He'd never change the schedule. You play on Saturday, you got beat 4-0. The schedule will be the same because he knows that you get the same. His family used to live away from Burnley. He used to live in Burnley, but you play on a Saturday, you would always have Sunday and Monday morning off. So he could have Sunday and Monday, take his kids to school, be with his family Monday morning, and then drive back up. So you'd always train Monday afternoon. So you would know that you had your Sunday off and Monday morning.
But it's great because you know
good
that.
scruples.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, of course, they didn't get the result they wanted against Manchester City, did they? But not many clubs do, let's face it. Dave, there is 4 other teams playing. Yeah. Have we had any action?
Missed one of the best saves of the season by the Aston Villa goalkeeper. It was a free kick from William, and
Tom Heaton.
It was unbelievable.
Tom Heaton is capable of that, isn't he? Great.
That's a great sign.
Fantastic.
That was a great sign for 8 million cheap.
Signing by Aston Villa.
Really
Somebody who's got the ability to keep them in the Premier League if needs be.
Yeah, I mean, Burnley were blessed at one point, weren't they, with 3 number 1s. I think Joe Hart was 3rd, which kind of says everything. Callum Hudson-Odoi
just collecting goalkeepers, as Sean. It was good. When I was there was Tom, me, Nick Pope, and I left, and then Joe Hart came in. So he's collecting old ex-England goalkeepers.
He just likes having you around. Clearly making a good impression on the youngsters coming through. Leicester. They don't look at their explosive best. Is it still an attritional game, Dave?
Goal for Wolverhampton
Never mind about Leicester.
Wanderers. Number 10 has it was actually a pretty good finish.
I think that's Catrone, the new signing from AC Milan.
Catrone, Catrone, number 10. It's actually a pretty good finish. I think it was just inside the box. I have to see the replay again. Maybe the goalkeeper could have done a little bit better because it wasn't like it was a very powerful shot.
No, I think it's a great finish. I sort of look for when I'm in the box or when I'm walking towards the box. A lot of defenders when you go to shoot, they just open the leg a little bit and go through the legs, and that's what he's done there. And it's difficult for the goalie to react and get down so quick.
He's a bit of penalty box poacher. He arrived with a good reputation as well, Catrone. Obviously, not getting a lot of game time because Jimenez is the man, isn't he, for Wolves? I think he's got around 14 goals in all competitions. But let's have a look at this finish once more. That's a nice steered finish, isn't it? It's a nice steered finish. OK, Dave, any other action before we leave?
I think Leicester look pretty good for their 1-0. They're on the attack now. They've got a corner if you want to stay with me. Ball whipped in, but it's been cleared by Watford, and they may go on the counter now. But the Wolves game is pretty much down. You can't see West Ham get back into this. What is there about? It's 5 minutes to go. It's probably Wolves very good value for that 3 points now.
5 minutes to go before you become an Everton fan for 45 minutes, Dave. Let's have a few questions then, McCubs.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Chelsea-themed question now. Obviously, they're hanging on against Villa. Liliana Toller has asked, do you think Chelsea's transfer ban will be lifted, and if so, who do you think they will sign?
Oh, do we think it'll be lifted? I mean, that's quite a weighty question. Has anyone got the inside track on this situation? Yes, Charlie, thanks.
You haven't heard his answer yet.
I think it could be getting lifted.
Yeah, I've heard.
And if I was them, I'd go and sign Ben Chilwell straight away as a left back. I think they need another centre half. So maybe go and take. I think there's a clause still in Nathan Ake's contract.
Yeah, the buyback thing.
The buyback. So they might try and take him back. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I suppose Kurt Zuma has come good. Tamori's come good. They've got Christensen. Are they well stocked in that position, or are you just saying Ake is that good if you've got the opportunity to buy him back?
At the moment, the two best centre halves outside Van Dijk is Mings and like I say, if you've got an opportunity to buy,
if you get the opportunity to take him back and just literally just stop other people having him, you get the opportunity.
Chelsea have no problem with stockpiling talent, do they? That's very much in their ethos.
Yeah, but no, it's.
So why did you go straight to Ben Chilwell as the #1 target then?
Well, I think he's the outside just after Robertson, who I think is the best left back in the world. I think he's as good as they are at the moment in the Premier League.
Yeah, he's a formidable player. I think both Leicester's full-backs have cost you a fair whack at the moment. Pereira playing out of his skin as well. How much do you pay for someone like Chilwell? Because we know that Leicester don't deal for anything less than like 60, 70 million.
50.
And in January you overpay as well.
Yeah,
always
so 65.
overpay.
He was linked with City as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So they might. Ben Chilwell, what we're saying is Ben Chilwell was going for £100 million in January. Okay?
He will be by the end of this conversation.
Yeah. We know that Charlie's got the inside track. Ben Chilwell.
I don't have any inside track on the Chelsea thing, but I think
it sounds better than, you know.
If I was Chelsea and they did get transferred back, left back is a position that I think they can improve on. I think Aspilicueta has been playing there for quite a couple of games, you know.
Doesn't have the inside track, but let's not let the truth get in the way of a good story. Yeah. We're going to clip it. We'll clip that anyway. Michael, any more questions?
Sorry, none at the moment, but just a little update from the United Spurs game. Luke Shaw is on for Jesse Lingard, so Ole Gunnar Solskjær trying to sharp shop a bit, I feel. Which is a bit worrying because those substitutions a little bit.
Playing higher up, he's playing like left wing back.
I think Lo Celso's entered the fray as well, hasn't he?
Lo Celso's come on, yeah.
What have you thought? I mean, he's played a very limited amount of minutes, but do you think that was the right sort of acquisition?
I think he's a good player. I really do think he's a good young player, but it's very difficult for him coming to a new country, settling in, and then he picked up. I don't think we've seen anywhere near the player that he is. He's on loan, but I think we've got an opportunity to buy him. I think the second half of the season is where we'll see the real Lo Celso. I think in flashes, he's played in the Champions League a couple of times. We've seen little bits. His set play delivery is phenomenal.
He's from what I've seen, obviously he had that outstanding season at Real Betis, but even before that, at PSG, he looked absolutely fantastic. So Everton coming back out, as are Liverpool. We'll let you know how the second half goes very, very shortly. David De Gea making a pretty routine save there in the Tottenham game.
He threw his cap on it. It was a hopeless shot from Ndombele from miles out.
He threw his cap on it. Any of the goalkeepers throwing any of the caps around the Premier League fixtures, Dave?
Chance, no. I think there's. I think there might be another goal in the Norwich-Southampton game coming because I feel like Norwich, they have to try and get something, and they're on the attack here now.
I thought that was Mike's. Well, Mystic Mike during the World Cup predicting scorelines. What?
Yeah, all the West Ham fans leaving in their droves at Wolves.
It's not been a good night for West Ham.
I'm not happy the West Ham fans at the moment, are they? I think he could be one. He's another one that could.
Well, he's one of the highest paid managers in Europe. He's got to be under pressure. Yeah. That win at Chelsea certainly doesn't paper over the cracks.
So where do you go? Someone like Pellegrini who's won.
I'd straight on for David Moyes, get him back.
David Moyes, yeah.
Would you? No, he's done a great job.
Imagine Moyes entering the fray for the second time.
It was the owners. You know,
his name's getting branded about for a few jobs.
Yeah, Everton job as well. You know,
do you think that West Ham frequently stating their ambitions for Champions League football? Do you think they're just consistently aiming too high?
Look at the way they started this year, though. They started with every chance of it. You know, the first few games, thought, this year could be the chance to break into the top six.
Yeah.
Because Arsenal certainly didn't want it. Man United certainly didn't want it. Spurs were doing everything they could to get out of it. And this year, of all years, was a real opportunity to break that top six. And for me, Everton as well, they should have started the season a lot better.
Yeah. West Ham. So, I mean, Pellegrini's certainly not as let's say, his head's not on the chopping block in the same manner that Marco Silva's is, but
I think he's close.
we've had David Moyes and Charlie.
I think he's close.
Where would you shop
close.
around? It's in a similar sort of vibe to Charlie, or?
No, it's difficult. Is who's out there and as to what's available.
I think
Do you go and get Eddie Howe's always going to get linked to jobs? Because of the job that he's done there.
Like you say, would he leave Bournemouth for West Ham? With
Exactly.
It's
It's not an attractive opportunity at the moment. So it would have to be a manager that's maybe out of work and not in a job.
Yeah. Interesting.
Alan Pardew.
I think that might be keeping a lot of people in a fair few jobs at the moment. The lack of viable candidates that aren't in jobs. McCubs, we got any questions? Perhaps not West Ham related.
Yeah, no, a bit of not even Premier League related actually. Obviously, you two both have experience in the Championship. James Careless has asked, who is your kind of pick from a team from the Championship at the moment to get promoted and stay in the Premier League?
Leeds, of course, absolutely, without a shout. This is the year we're doing it. We are going up this year without a shadow of a doubt.
We played them the other week, and I said the before the show that they've got a determination, a grind at the moment with them. They never played well against Luton and then they never played well against us, but they nick goals, they're nicking goals late, and that's what the top. That's what the top teams kind of instilled. Yeah, that's what the top teams do. They nick goals when they're not playing well, and even Liverpool. Yeah. Liverpool played better last year than they have this year.
100%.
But at right times they score winning goals late on, and that's what gets you titles, and that's what wins you. When you're not playing well, if you can nick goals, it's half a battle.
I've watched Leeds numerous times this year. My boy's in the academy there. He's only 11. We get to go to a lot of the games and are around the training ground a lot. And this year, it feels different. This year, it feels right. The one criticism that you can level at them this year, they dominate games without converting chances, without scoring. Yeah. Patrick Bamford started scoring. Whether he can score the 20, 25 goals needed. Last year, we fell short because we didn't have a 20-goal a season, man. Any other team finished in the top 6 last year, they had at least one player scored more than 20 goals. We had Roof, who we sold in the summer, and he was on 15. We haven't got. If they got Dwight Gale from Newcastle, if we had Chris Wood back from Burnley, they would have been up last year, and they certainly have a better chance of going up this year. But I think this year they can do it.
So what, the belief was there amongst the fans as well last year, wasn't it? Me and Michael went to QPR, went to Loftus Road to watch them, and the atmosphere the Leeds fans put up was absolutely
when they come to our place, they were quiet. It was like there was an edgy to them. Was
that later on in the season when?
No, just okay, 2 weeks ago.
Last minute, wasn't it?
Yeah, 87th minute they scored a goal, but they were edgy for the whole game, and it was like the goal was coming from nowhere. It come out of nowhere.
Right. Hello. That's a great first touch. Sorry, Charlie. But was that Marcus Rashford that was in the box then? And wasted. A lack of a good first touch, let's say, might have cost him another goal there to add to his plethora of goals this campaign. I think pretty much full time.
Chelsea
in most of the
won.
Games, no?
Probably deserved the 3 points, and they probably definitely deserved the 3 points. Southampton have just lit. The final whistle has just gone. That is a massive 3 points to Southampton. It's probably kept this fella in a job. That's a bit harsh, I know.
This fella as well. He's not just wandered into the stadium.
This fella has just walked in from the stands.
He was just there, and he's now got his job for another week.
Yeah, you mean Rabbit Hutch?
Yeah.
That's what his name translates to in English.
Oh, really?
Really? Rabbit Hutch.
Big chance here for Dele Alli.
And the Wolves game finished 2-0. Chance here for Leicester. There's probably about 20 seconds left. And it just wrapped it up. 2-0 Leicester. Is it Jamie Vardy? No, it's not. James Maddison has wrapped up the 3 points for Leicester. That's another very impressive win. They did not play well tonight, and they've got the 3 points. They look like really in contention for that Champions League spot now.
I mean, his form is just not subsiding, is it? James Maddison. We spoke about Charlie earlier making that step up from the Championship. Did you ever come across a James Maddison, an informed James Maddison at Norwich when you?
No, never played against him at all. The best thing, he was at Aberdeen and sort of struggled a little bit when he went up and
scored a great free kick against Rangers, though.
Yeah,
didn't he? I remember that
one
quite clearly.
Yeah, I bet you did. I don't think he was overly impressive, was he?
Yeah.
But no.
Such a technically minded player, quite maybe made a man of him, so to speak.
Yeah, but I think it's great experience to go up there and play.
Oh, it's finished.
All over Old Trafford. What were the dying embers of the game like, Paul?
No good. Nothing. I can't remember De Gea making a save of any note in the game. Spurs were blunt tonight. They offered very little. United dominated from start to finish. Certainly not how I expected the game to go. United turned up tonight. They played for the manager. Rashford looked good every time he got the ball. They could have won by more, in all honesty, tonight. United, they had the dominate of possession, they dominated the chances, and Spurs, no matter how many substitutions they made, changed the system a little bit. There was no answer. Solskjær on the touchline now, looking very pleased, walking around clapping the fans. It would be a very humble Jose tonight.
You know what? If Jose would have won, his arm would have been straight round Ollie, wouldn't it?
Oh, of course
he would have been imploring the crowd to support their manager. But it's Ollie who's leaving with a big fat smile on his face. He ruins Jose's what many thought would be his glorious return.
Deservedly so. They played well tonight, United. As much as it pains me to say it.
To be fair, they're a little bit. So it's almost like they're actually playing for Ollie as well, wouldn't they? Like, you know, it's then that they almost outwork Spurs, didn't they?
That's not the United of recent times. They looked a good team tonight. The work ethic was there. They looked good off the ball as well as on the ball as well tonight.
Yeah.
Tottenham never really got going, but I think at times they weren't allowed to get going.
Yeah.
United had a game plan. They closed them down. Spurs struggled to get out of the half, and as much as it pains to say, I think it was probably the right result in the end.
Well, the rest of the games have wrapped up now, haven't they? The results are on screen right now. And Manchester United, Tottenham, it's game over there. So our focus is going to be the Merseyside derby. Is it a foregone conclusion? Are Liverpool going to win? Holy smokes, that was a decent free kick from Lucas Digne. What a way to come back into this game. Have you been keeping your eye on it in the last two, Charlie?
Yeah, no, it's been like you say, when you got a home team 4-2 up, Everton have got half a little bits of chances, and then that free kick there from Digne, close but not close enough, and you still expect Liverpool to score at any time they go forward.
Okay, Mike, let's have a few questions then to keep things ticking over, particularly while Dave's gone to the toilet.
We've got another personal one. This is from Alan93, going to Paul. I'm sure you've had to do this a lot, but can you talk us through once again the goal that you scored against Watford?
Which one?
I think that
The one for
against
Tottenham?
Watford, yeah.
That was... Listen, I scored two in my career. I scored one for Leeds, a header, which was great. I mean, for a goalkeeper who was frustrated centre-forwards, we play in training, we do crosses against one another, and you dream about scoring. It was just a Roy of the Rovers moment. The one for Spurs, I wish I could sit here and tell you that I meant it. It was just a punt downfield.
About 80 yards, wasn't it?
But yeah, it was 80, 85 or something. It was a long, long way. And Ben Foster just got his ball depth perception, his judgment wrong. And unfortunately for him, it hit a bounce and it went over his head. I'd love to be able to tell you I saw him off his line, I screeched it in from 85 yards. It was just a lump upfield to Mido, who's not famed for his movement. Didn't move very far and he eluded everybody.
How did you react? How do you process that as a goalkeeper?
I was surprised because at first I was worried whether it was an indirect or a direct free kick. I didn't want to celebrate. And by the time I realised it was a goal, I had my teammates that had jumped on me. So it came at an interesting time in my career as well, because it was a time that I wasn't playing well. And I was England's #1 at the time, but Ben Foster was one of the candidates to take my jersey. I wasn't playing particularly well, and it was just a fluke, really, complete fluke.
Nice. I was the same. I was at Stoke when Asmi Bevic scored that goal, remember, against Stafford Boric.
Well, I was going to ask you, I've got some of the goalkeepers down here that have scored they've just scored full stop, league goals this is. So you've got Asmir Begovic. Can you name the others? I think we might be missing one, because I think Artur Boruc might have done it. But
Brad Friedel.
Peter
Schmeichel.
Peter Schmeichel for Aston Villa as well, not United.
Mark Poom.
Derby. Mark Poom did it the week before me.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I mean, we've made short work of that quiz. I mean, I imagine the goalkeepers have a WhatsApp group, and every year just
goalie scorers.
Remember that.
I mean, Charlie, you scored from your own half as well.
A couple of times.
Like,
No.
When did you first discover that you could just absolutely whack a ball, Charlie?
He meant it.
Like an NFL kicker.
No, I've always been able to play a longer pass and things like that. But like I've gone back to before, I do my homework. You know, I knew that Courtois was one where when the ball was up the pitch a little bit, he always liked to come out his box, and he'd be further out the box than the majority of goalkeepers. Because when you're playing for Chelsea, you always want to play high line, and if anything comes through, you can go and deal with it. And I just had an opportunity. I seen him off his line, and I just had a go in it.
Yeah, probably doing the skill a bit of a disservice by saying, when did you learn how to absolutely whack a ball? Or when did you know you could? But did you have an aptitude for it straight away, just that long pass, or is it something you consciously worked on?
No, I practiced it a lot, I practiced it as a kid, and it's just something I always had in my game, that it was something that I always felt that was something different. Probably tried it a lot too much at times, but
he's not small, Courtois, either, is he?
No.
And
I got
6'6" at least.
Yeah. And the biggest thing was I seen him scrambling as well. That was the best bit when he was running
Seen a few today.
trying to scramble for it, trying to get his hand to it. That was the best thing. But when it happened, I was sort of like, Paul, you sort of a bit embarrassed, didn't you?
Yeah.
You know, like,
Well, especially for me.
and even me doing it to the
At least you
goalkeeper.
meant it.
Yeah, but I was still a bit like Courtois, like Chelsea's number one.
Because there's an element of luck, or
No, there was no luck about it. It was quality. It was just, it was brilliant. But it's just, you don't want to see that to a fellow professional. It's a bit of taking the mick, innit? Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah, if you'd have done it on the training ground, if they'd chased you around the training ground.
yeah, that's the thing. But I tell you what, I've never stopped talking about it. On the bus, on the bus I was buzzing about it. But like you said, Jose said after the game, you know, if that was Messi or Ronaldo, they'd be talking about it. It was, you know, they would love to score a goal.
So-
Like that. It was great.
we discussed with Paul other goalkeepers that have scored goals. What about other players that have scored from their own halfway line? Which goal do you remember that was sort of akin to yours most fondly, like a Wayne Rooney, a Xabi Alonso? Which?
Xabi Alonso's.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I think
a
the
couple,
one with
didn't
Shea, was it Shea Given that was scrambling?
Oh, because he was eating
Steve
turf. He
Harper.
was practically mooing, wasn't he? when
Yeah,
got up?
he was quality as well, Alonso. He was unbelievable. But even like Rooney's goal he scored against West Ham, it was
What a strike that
it
was.
was unbelievable,
What
wasn't
a
it?
strike.
It's just you have the,
Technique was unreal.
it's just some players have just got that in the mind or in the brain that they think so quick, but on the pitch that happens. And lucky that Beckham won as well was just
Bex was like starting it really all off, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think that's the one I
Yeah.
can remember from the beginning.
Wimbledon.
Sellers,
I'm
remember
just
Neil
I'm
Sullivan
just
getting tied
I'm just
up in
gutted
the
that my goal never really gets shown on Sky for, like, you know, when it's halfway line goals, it never gets shown really.
We'll have a word.
Yeah.
Not that we that we hold much currency.
Christmas special.
Right. Talking of goals, we have another price boost, and it is Van Dijk to score a header at the time of recording. If you want to check out more details, visit skybet.com. They are subject to change, of course. Go to the website for the latest odds. You have to be 18 plus to play. And yeah, read that little yellow box just there. Moise Keane is coming on, I'm hearing. Or he has come on.
No, he is coming
just
on.
for clarification, he is coming on. He's
for
warming up, and he
Calvert-Lewin.
was a handful for Leicester. So let's see if he can reignite this second half, because it's felt a little bit stale the last 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Like
it's-
Liverpool are just kind of grinding out.
Yeah,
victory.
grinding out the result, and Everton really shown much. Marco Silva at the moment, he has to do something to try and get into this game. If he can get a goal back now and edgy, you know, last half hour really. But no, it's been comfortable for Liverpool tonight, apart from obviously the 2 goals we've lost is a little bit disappointing.
Obviously, from Liverpool point of view, they've got so many games coming out. If they can just cruise now for the next half an hour, they'll be loving it.
Yeah, absolutely, they'll be delighted. You know, they've not had to bring on Salah or Firmino yet either, so that's still to worry
Pretty
about.
priceless at this point.
Yeah,
in the
it's
season.
great for them if they go through a game and they don't have to bring these lads on. And Shaqiri can get through a full game, Origi can get through a full game. It's great for the lads.
Rotate 2 of your forwards.
Because their game in Europe on Wednesday or Tuesday, they have to win, don't they?
Against Salzburg.
So
they've
they
left
have
it,
to
but
win,
they
don't
have
they?
to
Yeah.
And that's not an easy game.
No.
They've been one of the surprise packages in the Champions League, haven't they? And they've got Haaland up front, who, amongst several very good players in that team, who really are really keen to impress. He's a Leeds fan, isn't he, Haaland?
Well, his dad was there, so
If you get promoted, as could be on the cards in Liverpool. Haaland and it doesn't seem like a Bielsa sort of player. So, I mean, just to go
Neither
to
does Patrick
Bielsa,
Bamford, to be honest.
just to go
But
to
he's
Bielsa
stuck
very
with him.
quickly.
He
Like,
stuck with him,
in
and he
terms of
put all the eggs in the one basket for him, didn't he?
He got Nketiah from Arsenal. He's not had a sniff. He's been injured the last few weeks.
Yeah.
But he sees something in Patrick Bamford, and he started scoring goals.
Is what rate he does for the team, do you think?
I don't know what it is, whether it's off the ball, but he's certainly improved him.
Yeah.
You look at the way Calvin Phillips and Dallas as well.
Oh, hello, Liverpool in here. Adam Lallana has that came
Offside,
off.
offside.
I was going to say, is that deflection?
It
of
wasn't it?
Firmino,
It was
but it's
a
offside.
great little ball from Milner there, but it was offside.
Always. Obviously, every football purist is kind of fascinated with Marco Bielsa. Have you come across him yet at the club? What sort of aura does he have? Because people talk about him in very, very godly sort of ways.
He's just got such a knowledge and a passion for the game. I told you my boy was there, so I'm there 3 nights a week, and he's there some nights till goodness knows what time.
Really?
Lives in the next village. He walks 2.5 miles home to the village. Quite often see him in Costa Coffee.
We've seen
He's-
his bag.
Hey?
We've seen
With all
bag,
his newspapers.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
He's just such a character,
Yeah.
to the point of OCD with his football. You saw the Spygate thing with the derby.
I love that.
Nine times.
So I think it's brilliant.
Most
It's
managers,
brilliant to get an edge on somebody.
he's that obsessed. Most managers on a Friday afternoon will have an idea of the team they're playing against. They'll know 9 or 10 out of the 11 that they're going to play against. They'll roughly know their set plays, who's going to take them, how they're going to do it. He's not happy with that.
Yeah.
He wants to know who he's playing against, who's taking the set plays, and how they're going to line up. His obsession and his attention to... You want to see one of his training sessions? There's about 7 sessions going on across the training ground. Different things, his staff doing different things. And then he brings them all together.
Yeah.
He's a complete
How do you
obsessive...
take that as a player, by the way? You know, when the training sessions are so demanding, because some, you know, like with Pochettino, towards the end of his Tottenham reign, people were saying that he was training them like dogs almost. You know, that it was physically too demanding on the players. So when you get someone like Bielsa,
but it's credit to him because that's his relationship with his players. He's able to get that out of his players with also keeping them on side You ask the players, you know, what's training like? It's just the way he does it. That's what we do.
Yeah, okay.
He's taken a team that were 14th in the Championship to automatic promotion contenders last year. He's spent nothing this year. He's got a couple of loans in, and he's still doing exactly the same thing.
Because at other clubs he's been accused of burnout.
You turn around to the players and you say, well, it's just what we do. That's when we get on with it.
Used to it,
and people were saying about burnout last year. It wasn't because of burnout at the end of last year. It was because they weren't scoring goals. They were still dominating games. They were, you know, creating chances, but they weren't scoring goals, which is what cost them. They were still outworking teams in the last 2 or 3 games of the season.
Well, the fact he's still there is probably a bit of a tribute to the players and how they bought him, because when they don't buy in, like at Lille or Marseille, he leaves, doesn't he?
He was the best signing of the summer. To keep the manager was the best thing that Leeds did.
I hear that he is... he doesn't really... He won't have a relationship with any of the players. He keeps himself...
He's aloof, very aloof.
Keeps himself to himself. The players do what they want. He won't even talk to the players at times. That's it. He doesn't deal with it. And, like, you know, the things that the training and that, you wouldn't see them being well drilled on, this is how we want to play. It's just... It's weird how they actually train, they say, the people that tell me, you know what I mean?
It's unorthodox,
Yeah,
he's built this running track at the training ground.
You just get results.
Glad I'm not there. You want to see this running track?
Yeah.
2-mile running track around the outside, proper thing that he's built, whole way around the outside of it. They train, they train and they train hard. But he's getting the results.
Can he
you
be
can't knock him.
Do you firmly believe like he's the guy that can do what Sean Dyche has done with Burnley? Of course, Leeds, in terms of stature, are much bigger club than Burnley. But is he the guy that can make them a Premier League force again?
Without a shadow of a doubt, he's the one to do it. This year, if they don't do it this year, I think the whole club will be restructured and he'll probably leave if they don't go up this year.
Right, okay.
But I think if they do go up this year, there'll definitely be a statue erected of him outside Ellen Road for what he's done.
It'd be great.
And there's just the buzz about the place. The Premier League needs Leeds.
Yeah, okay.
Leeds needs the Premier League.
The North, it'd be nice for the North.
The Championship needs Leeds because of the impact that they've got, the size of the club in that league.
And the fan base to bring to away
they're
games.
They're a Premier League club.
Yeah,
I mean, they take 5,000 away from home on a regular basis. It's just...
Can you imagine now, next season, Leeds Man United, Leeds Liverpool, Leeds Chelsea, Leeds Tottenham, Leeds, any club, instead of now at the moment it's Watford Tottenham or Watford.
Too London-centric, isn't it? I agree. Let's have a Northern club back in the Premier League.
I just think there'd be...
The term sleeping giant is far too overused.
I think there'd be a massive boost to the Premier League.
But they are a sleeping giant.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, it's sort of like with Lampard at Chelsea. This is the most likeable I think Leeds have ever been from a neutral's perspective to have Bielsa.
Like you said with Chelsea, everybody seems to be enjoying themselves again, don't they? Everybody seems to be liking Chelsea for some reason, just because Lampard factor.
Playing the youngsters, bit of goodwill.
But Bielsa's stock now in this country, if I hope for all the will in the world that Leeds go up this year and he stays. If Leeds don't go up this year, Bielsa is a prime candidate for a top job. Why shouldn't he have a top job? I think he would have done a great job at somewhere like Manchester United.
Well, Everton.
I think his ability to deal with players and to get the best out of players. His name isn't linked with, thankfully, at the moment, his name is not linked with these big clubs, but it won't be long.
Yeah, we haven't spoken about Marco Bielsa enough on this show, and it's just as well that he has come up because the last 10 minutes of this haven't looked great. Charlie, what's been going on? That's
nothing.
Half decent effort there, or
yeah. The whole buzz of the first half has sort of gone from it, and that maybe just because Liverpool took the foot off the gas a little bit.
Yeah.
Everton don't want to concede anymore, and Liverpool are quite happy.
Yeah.
Just to confirm, Keane did come on for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. McCubbs, what have we got in the questions in the inbox?
Well, yeah, I mean, kind of relating to Everton a bit because they are lingering around the relegation zone. Let's see. It's James Careless again, once again. Thanks for sending your question in. Yeah, you've been a man of the match tonight. Who is in a who do you consider the main candidates in this relegation fight, and who do you think, is there anyone who you think is definitely going down this season?
Over to you guys. What do you think, Paul?
Me, Watford, I think are banging trouble. I think Southampton, they've won today, but I think they've escaped by the skin of their teeth too many times, and I just don't think that Norwich have got enough quality. And I think it's fortunate enough for other teams that there's 3 worse teams than Everton and the likes hovering around the relegation. Yeah. I think Everton will pull themselves away. I believe that the manager will get the bullet very soon, and I think they'll have a new manager in there, but it's to work with a quality squad of players. It needs freshening up, it needs rejuvenating, and I can't see Everton with a change of manager been down there for too long.
Charlie, in agreement?
Yeah, Watford and Norwich for me will go. I think Bournemouth can get dragged into it.
They're getting dragged into it.
You know, the next two games are horrendous. They play, is it Arsenal?
We're playing Brighton,
we'll
playing
get
West Ham
confirmation,
Monday night.
But I think you should just guess up until then.
Just have a guess. Yeah, say it with enough confidence.
Definitely it's 2 big clubs that they play in the next 2 games. So they're 2 tough games, you know. But
they've got Liverpool and Chelsea, so you're right. It's 2 big clubs.
Liverpool, Chelsea. There you go.
An inform Liverpool and a resurgent Chelsea.
It's a derby tackle.
That's a naughty.
It's a yellow.
I'm surprised Trent's got away with what he's got.
I think Trent's had a couple of nasty ones.
A
couple of left late ones in there, but
a few straight.
Yeah, that was not too bad. It's not worse. He's jumped it away with it. Yeah.
That isn't even the game.
It's a scouse tackle, that, isn't it? They 2 together.
In the Glasgow derby, that doesn't even stop play.
No.
let's have it right.
That's the 2 managers.
It was a worse tackle on Mourinho tonight, anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Dan James's head.
Dan James's head absolutely wearing Mourinho's knee. We might as well go for some more questions, and if you've not had a question read out, then fully go for it in the comments, because Michael is going to burn through some in quick fire fashion for us to get us over the line. There's 25 minutes left of this game, and let's hope we have a goal soon, because it certainly needs a shot in the arm.
I've only got a question.
Oh, you've got a question? Come on then, David.
Wow. I'm waiting all night for this.
I've got a Brentford question.
It's a question for Paul. Who do you think is the best keeper in world football at the moment?
World football? That's a good question.
Thanks, Paul.
I think Neuer has consistently been very good, over a long period of time, which for a goalkeeper, consistency is the key. I mean, there's goalkeepers can pull saves out the top corner, bottom corner, but it's doing the things you're expected to do and make those saves as well. I think Alisson, his introduction at Liverpool has been key to their success. They had 2 decent keepers in Mignolet and Karius, but they didn't have a top level of keeper. Yeah. You look at the Premier League, you look at the bracket of goalkeepers. Kepa, top level goalkeeper. Ederson, top level goalkeeper. Alisson. There's a new breed of goalkeepers now that use the feet. You look at where Man City play. Ederson. I think Neuer was the start of that, with his feet, the way that he plays out. But I think the best at it is Ederson, without a shadow of a doubt. I'd love to see Man City have won the league last year at Cantor and he plays centre midfield, because I think he could have done it the way that he plays, and there's some of the balls he plays around his 6-yard box.
What about the
you wouldn't even think about playing. Oblak.
Yeah,
he's a good goalkeeper.
So in the office, we were always arguing between Alisson, Oblak and Ter Stegen, right?
Pretty much.
But Ederson obviously has attributes that not many other goalkeepers do.
I think Ederson's above them.
Yeah, Ederson's.
Really?
Yeah.
Just because for his all-round.
Just everything. He's got everything. He's passing. Some of the saves he pulls off. Sometimes he just makes it look easy at times.
Yeah.
And he's got that presence.
He doesn't face many
Alisson's
shots,
probably
though,
knows. Alisson's a good goalkeeper, but is he as good with his feet? Do you think?
Alisson's not as good as his feet.
No.
Alisson, he learnt very early when he came to this country.
He made a mistake, didn't
at
he?
Leicester. He got robbed with the ball at his feet at Leicester, and from then on, he's been very good and he's made the right decisions. He hasn't taken risks. You talk about Hugo Lloris at Tottenham. He's nowhere near as good as the others with his feet, and he takes risks that because they want to play a certain style, it's not suited to him.
I don't think Jose will take to that soon when he's back fit for Willie.
It's going to be the Lloris situation at Spurs is going to be very interesting, because one, he's had a serious injury, a really serious injury, and how he comes back from that is going to be key to whether he comes back into the side or not. Because I know for a fact that Lloris was very, very close with Pochettino.
Oh, really?
Yeah, very close with Pochettino.
I mean, he stuck by him through his sort of dips in form, didn't he? And he's never been the best distributor, and that is maybe what let Tottenham down sometimes.
He's a World Cup winner. He makes some bad decisions with the ball in the air sometimes. and he gets caught at times. And of the last 12 months, I think he'll be the first to admit it, his form hasn't been what it should be.
Yeah.
And at times as a goalkeeper, you get clouded. When you're not playing well, you want to train, play. And sometimes it takes a manager to pull you out of the team and go, do you know what, you need a little bit of a rest at the moment.
Okay.
But his injury possibly come at the right time for him. Not in a that sounds awful.
No,
but for him to come out of the team, to have a little break and a little rest, it might just be the rest that he needed to rejuvenate himself again.
The only way he was getting a rest was via something like
the
this.
manager wasn't taking him out of the team.
I understand what you're saying.
Pochettino wanted to stand by him, didn't he?
The manager wasn't taking him out of the team.
So, who was, in terms of who you guys have played underneath, who was really adept at doing that as a manager? You know, taking you out the side when you needed to. Who delivered that news well? We know that. Sorry, who was it that you referenced at Stoke when he took you off? That wasn't the correct decision.
No.
Gary Rowett, maybe not a dab hand at that in your opinion, but who was good, a good man manager?
Good man manager.
Yeah.
Ian Holloway, just because I played every game, he allowed me to play and enjoy myself. And,
So just do what you want.
no manager's good that thinks, oh, you want to take you out of the team. You don't want to be taken out of the
You
team.
don't like any manager who takes you
No
out.
chance. You know, Holloway was like, playing well, playing bad, no problem, get your own self through it. You know, and that was the confidence he had in me. But the managers that turn around and say to you, listen, we're just going to go a little bit different, we're going to change this. No, you're dropping me, simple as that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I just say to me, I'm no dropping you. Yeah, you are dropping me. Do you know what I mean? So it's...
You prefer them to be
yeah,
transparent?
I'd rather just say, listen, you've been rubbish for 2 weeks, you ain't getting a game. But no, it's...
I was all right. I never had the tactical one. I was either in the team or out. I couldn't get changed for tactical
the only time you're in
reasons.
the team, whereas you threw a couple in,
you know
what I mean?
you weren't playing.
But it's it's hard because some players are different in how they take the news. Do you know what I mean?
So-
Some managers.
So kind of Nick, who was the best manager that you actually worked under for you
Oh,
personally?
mate, I've got a few to sack.
Yeah.
I've played with a lot of managers.
Yeah.
I think each one has different qualities, but for me as a person, I responded well to man management and honesty. Doors always open, type manager. Sam Allardyce got the best out of me, introduced me to another side of football, like the fitness side, the nutrition side, and he could get an extra percentage out of a player by the way he handled
Is
players.
he more forward-thinking than people give him credit for?
He was massively forward-thinking, but
Sam
he was old school.
Yeah.
He surrounded himself with a staff that were modern, forward-thinking, but he was still of his old school man management ways. There was an old school style with a modern twist to it, and I think Sam was probably the one that got the best out of me as a player. Terry Venables was a brilliant tactician when he came to Leeds at the time. He came in to a Leeds side that was struggling, and I think he struggled particularly because he was putting ideas into a team that couldn't cope with the ideas that he wanted to do, and he didn't have an answer to that.
Yeah.
Sven-Goran Eriksson was another one. He had a quality group of players, and he wasn't a shouter or a screamer, but at times you could see he wanted to. He'd come in at half-time and you could see he was fuming. He'd take himself off into another room with his coaches, come out 5 minutes later, he'd let all the lads do the screaming and shouting in the dressing room. He'd come in 5 minutes later completely calm, conducted, and just give out a basic structured team talk as to how he wanted things to pan out in the second half, rather than the raw emotion. Whereas the likes of Sam, Sean Dyche was like that, to be fair to him. He'd take himself off, but then he'd still come in and dish it out as well. He'd go and compose himself, and then he just couldn't help himself, and things would be getting thrown. Whereas Sam would be straight in, he would dealt with it straight away. Every manager's different, but I respond
You got to know
well
your
to
group
man
of players,
managers.
don't you?
Yeah.
Like, to get the best out of me, and Paul, if I'm not playing well, I won't bollock him.
Yeah.
You know, but some players, if you know that you're going to bollock them, you ain't going to see them second half. You may as well take them off at half time. Yeah. So that's the experience you get as a manager, and man management. You know your players and how they react. You know, I've come in and I've seen, when I was a youngster, just breaking the first team, Walter Smith, I've seen him coming in, kicking tactics, balls, you know, battering everything, and I'm thinking, wow, please no. But it's just some managers are different, and the group react to that, and you can do that, you know.
It's the hardest job as a manager. As an international manager, completely going off track here, the England manager's job, you don't need the best coach in the world. What is the best coach in the world going to coach the best players in this country in 3 days before a game? Not a lot. He needs to be tactically aware, tactically clever, and be able to manage a dressing room full of 23 egos. 11 of them are easy because you're playing them.
Yeah.
The 11 you pick are very, very easy. It's how you manage the rest of your team. For an England manager, it's what frame of mind and how you can get all of those players want to run through a brick wall for you and keeping them all on side. Tactically, obviously, you've got to be a good coach, you've got to be tactically aware, tactically clever. But the amount of time that an international manager gets with his team you're not really going to have a lot of time to coach them as footballers on a day-to-day basis. You've got 4 days to be a man manager, tactically aware, and set your team up to beat an opposition.
Do you think that's one of Southgate's strengths then with the current England side? It's just his kind of man management.
I think he's got many strengths. And I think the way that he's rejuvenated the team as well. I think we saw in the World Cup, they give him a great account of themselves. And then me, like others, probably went, where does he go from here? Yet he's brought in younger players. He's brought in other players who are playing well. And the team's going from strength to strength. The next step is beating the likes of Spain, France on a regular basis and breaking into that top group. They were now winning all the games that they should. They've qualified with these, as England always do.
There is nothing worse than Paul's obviously been different for him. He's been to tournaments and he's been away for a long time, away from his family and that. But when you go away for that 10 days and you sat in the hotel, all you do is you get up in the morning, you have breakfast, you go train, you come back and you sit in the hotel 4 or 5 hours, go to sleep, you have your dinner, and then you go back to room. So I think now in the England camp or in the camps, there's table tennis, there's pool, there's darts, there's atmosphere. There's a bit of an atmosphere. There's more of a club vibe.
Yeah, ways to stimulate.
When
the
I
players,
was away with Scotland, under some managers, that's how it was. We used to back in the day. We used to get poker. We used to play poker and things like that with darts, and that got stopped. So the trip for the 10 days became even longer, and players will be thinking.
I suppose
and you look at now the Vardy thing, right? He knows he ain't going to be playing for England. No matter how many goals he scored, knows that Harry Kane's the #1 striker. And you think to himself, I'm 31, 32, why do I want to go away for 10 days?
That's why I packed it in, mate. That's why I packed it in. I didn't want to travel the world to sit in a stand watching football.
Yeah.
At the time, I'd have been number 3. And at that time in my career and the age that I was, I didn't want to travel the world just to sit in a stand and watch football. Yeah, it's a huge achievement to play for your country. And I probably give it in earlier than I should have done. And in hindsight, looking back,
you're on 30
should have
years
stuck
old,
with it
right?
a bit longer. A bit older, yeah. But circumstance at the time, I didn't want to do it. And it's something, as Charlie says, when you go away, it's a completely different mindset, especially tournaments. You're forced to live with 23 blokes who you probably wouldn't choose to live with, and then you forget about the 20-odd staff that come with it. And because of the scrutiny surrounding players, you can't just go for a walk to the shop because you're in the middle of a tournament. You're in a hotel. Yeah. It's like it's a 5-star prison that you're in. But it's a great environment to be in, but it's a unique environment. And we're guilty in England of promoting youngsters far too quickly into the first team, and they're not learning tournament football at under 18s, under 19s and 21s. They're starting to do that now. You see the success that they've had at youth levels.
In the 17s,
but the Germans,
19s,
in recent history, players learn how to play tournament football because it's completely different to what you do on a daily basis.
So you're saying the hardest thing about tournament football is everything in between the games? In a way.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's the hardest bit. Obviously, your family come to the hotel, and obviously, I think the England one now is where the lads get to see the families and things like that. But in previous times, it was you were just in your room, and it was.
Listen, it's not a hard life. Don't for 1 minute feel sorry for it. It's a great life as a footballer, but it's just completely different to what you're used to. Yeah. And I think that part of the way England have struggled in tournaments in previous history is because of it. Tournament football is completely different to your everyday Premier League life.
For example, right? What is the difference between after training on a Thursday, if I want to go to a coffee shop, I can go to a coffee shop. If I'm in a tournament, you can't go to a coffee shop. You need to sit in a hotel and have a coffee in the same environment you've been in for already 4 weeks. Yeah. Now, why can you not go and walk to a coffee shop and have a coffee? There's nothing changes that. That's different. That's what other lads want to do.
I suppose if the dressing room not divided sounds a little bit harsh, and it's probably an overplayed narrative that the players sat with people from their clubs prior.
Yeah, but that's because they're comfortable with that. But Gareth's obviously changed that, and these lads in the England thing, they've all come through the cycle together at some point. Yeah.
That's the biggest compliment you pay. It's a club atmosphere, and it's the hardest thing to achieve because there is those divides. The Liverpool, Everton, Man United.
Because you don't mind being locked away if there's
Chelsea,
a stronger sense of unity.
But the club atmosphere, what is installed in this England team, it's a breath of fresh air, and you can see it on the pitch.
And I don't think there are as many egos as there is when you were playing in the England camp now. Yeah. Back in the day, you had Terry, Lampard, Gerrard. Big egos.
Yeah.
All fighting for Premier League titles at the time.
All fighting for Premier League titles all the time. These lads are more of... Listen, you seen the other week with Raheem and Joe Gomez. It's overspilled, but because they want to win so much in that, at the end of the day, when they go in that pitch, you're no mates. They want to win for their club. And it overspilled into the national scene, but these lads have all come through together in the international scene for a long time.
I suppose, like, if you look at it from a more granular sense, there was times at the club when Lampard, Gerrard, Terry were bigger than the managers at their respective clubs.
Yeah.
When now, given the calibre of management in the Premier League, that's not the case, and I suppose that must keep them a little bit more humbler, you know, with Pep Guardiola at Manchester
I think that's
City.
unfair. I don't think you say that about Gerrard and Lampard. I think you see them on a daily basis. I don't think nobody's ever bigger than a manager at a club, especially when you've got the likes of Mourinho at Chelsea.
So I'm thinking of the Villas-Boas thing there in particular.
Okay, yeah, it's certain managers.
Yeah.
But Terry and Lampard under
Well, they'd have ran through walls for Jose Mourinho, wouldn't they?
And that's back to my original point about man management and how you manage players.
Okay. Going back to, well, the Scotland setup, because Scotland are playing Israel, do you harbour, you know, great aspirations for that sort of playoff match?
Who, me?
Yeah.
At the moment, I don't see it happening.
Rein that in there. Very well done.
Yeah, listen, I'm as honest I'll be. I don't see myself anywhere near the Scotland team at the moment. Definitely not.
What about the result?
I think they'll beat Israel.
Yeah.
But I think the game against Norway or Serbia will be tough away from home. And if it comes down to it, an opportunity for one game, you know, against Norway or Serbia to get to a major tournament over a number since '98, you'll take it. Yeah. You know, it's been a long way.
Potentially a group with England as well.
Yeah, they're great games. You know what I mean?
Certainly had a spice to the group, wouldn't it?
It's England's to lose now, isn't it?
Yeah. So
all their games are at home. So
it's
three games at Wembley.
Three games at Wembley.
That is very, very true. Let's revisit the game. It looks like Joe Gomez
is still going on, by the way.
Yeah. just to remind the subscribers, or potential subscribers, if you're not subscribed, of course, click that subscribe button. Can I say subscribe any more in 10 seconds? Possibly. Joe Gomez is coming on to shut the game up even further. Is that even a thing?
I think both teams will, unless Everton can get something in the next couple of minutes, I think both teams will be, from where Everton won at one point in this game, you'll be happy to probably get out of this one.
Yeah, it's really.
Do you give credit to Liverpool there for taking the sting out of any sort of Everton, you know, resurgence after that second goal, or do you think they could have been a little bit more ambitious in the latter stages of this game?
I think Jurgen will be saying, listen, don't concede another goal, and we'll see the game's won.
He'll be delighted. They've not had to expend
100%.
too much energy. This is what Manchester United used to do under Fergie. They used to go out, first 20, 25 minutes, go and win the game, and then you're in cruise control for the rest of the game. Yeah,
I'm sure Jurgen Klopp won't mind a boring end if he gets through the game with zero injuries.
Go on.
Should we queue up a few more questions? Until then, Dave.
Yes, mate.
Thoughts on the end of the game as a man who's had to watch 6 games so far tonight?
Yeah.
Shades of any other results in the end of this game, because there wasn't an awful lot of goals across the for you watching prior.
Yeah, as in, like, do I think there's going to be another goal in this game? Or?
Yeah, give us your opinion on matters, mate.
I think it's been a very good Liverpool performance.
It's
been a very good Liverpool performance.
Yeah.
About the other games, I thought Chelsea looked good for their win. They were at home. They were expecting after they'd lost to West Ham.
Also with Chelsea is that, you know, they've struggled a bit at home this season, haven't they?
Yeah.
It's been a downfall, especially when a goal against that Villa, you think, you know, they might finish and end up a draw, or they could lose the game. They've grinded at that too, that result, and it's a big win for Chelsea, that.
I agree. Leicester, again, they didn't play well today, but they've got the 3 points. They're looking very strong, Leicester. I don't think they're, it's going to sound quite harsh, like, I think they won't get near the top. Like, I think they've got a very good chance of finishing in the top 4, 100%. If you look at their first 11 anyway, probably they're on merit and obviously the performance. I think one of the things they've got going in their favour is they don't have any European football, so all they've got is the league, which is kind of what stood them in very good stead when they actually won the championship, because it was just literally just that game by game.
Quite coy. He said, "Yeah, I've got a release clause."
Yeah. A little wink and a smile at the camera.
Goal.
It's 5.
Goal.
Sadio Mane.
No. No, what's he done?
Was that good recovery from Holgate, or is Mane just not taking his chance?
Mane's just taking the mick there. That's what he's trying to do. He should have finished that in the game. 5-2 would have been over, but it's a big miss that for Mane.
Taking it around the goalkeeper there. He's got an open goal. Holgate's done well, to be fair to him, to get back and put a tackle in. But Mané should have just.
But like you said about
every
Everton, wide open through the middle of the defence
Yeah,
again.
that was crazy.
Let's finish with Brendan Rodgers.
Chance through the middle.
Moise Keane! Almost registering what could have been his first goal for the club, if memory serves me correctly.
There you go. That was probably the goal they're looking for. With 5 to go.
Yeah.
That was probably his best chance to score, you know, barring that one that almost snuck in the far post against Leicester. Good run.
Would have been called offside?
I feel like he stayed onside quite well there. Could be wrong. To finish up with Brendan Rodgers then, mate, would you take him at Arsenal?
At this stage, yes. Would he be my top choice? Probably not. And I think he's done a great job at Leicester.
Who would be a top choice?
I think. Well, I've heard a few things earlier that maybe Diego Simeone's going to get the sack, which I think is absolutely mental. Atletico Madrid, like, because him come in and actually. Because one of the things I think we've got is we're still in a bit of flux between what Wenger brought to the club and what we want to become. And I think under
you need a manager and 4 defenders. That's what you need.
This is exactly what I mean. But I think that's the thing, right? Because the thing about Diego Simeone, he'll build a defence first, right?
Yeah.
And we've got
If he's got the money to build the defence, we've been saying for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years at Arsenal, you need 2 centre halves.
Yeah.
And
because I think the thing is we've got Keane. I think he's going to become a very good left back.
He's a good player, very good player.
You've got Saliba as well to come back. He looks like a good young centre half.
That young, like, kind of French.
I
I think the thing with Keane, it was such a shame he came like actually injured because we really needed him. Like, you know, and I think once we got him fully fit, Hector Bellerin fully fit and right, but it's just through the middles where all of our kind of
he had a tough game in the Europa League, didn't he? Tim? He made a mistake, and he just binned him straight away, Emery.
It's strange.
But I don't understand. They paid 25 million for him, right? And he'd been injured and that, but he's the best left back. Play him.
Well, I think
and he gives you balance as well.
Yeah, I think even like the fact that we let Nacho Monreal go for £1 million, like he could have played at centre half. He would have done better.
Never tried. No good enough for Arsenal. His time at Arsenal's gone.
Oh, you think? But how about if we'd have played a free in the back with the 2 like wing backs then?
Still think it's 2 weeks.
You could play 33 at the back the way you're conceding goals at the moment.
But I think it's the problem. When you ask who would like to come in,
right?
You send a free.
So took him on a free.
Yeah, on a free is really.
The defence is so porous. They give away far too many chances, too many opportunities. They needed Van Dijk. Van Dijks aren't about. They're not readily available. A steady, solid rock who influences people around him.
Yeah.
David Luiz.
Even if it was for one season, just to build.
No, I agree. Yeah.
You know, it's the recruitment policy.
Goalkeeper's been excellent, by the way.
He's fantastic.
Leno's been brilliant.
He's the amount of games we should have lost.
He kept you in the game at Norwich at the weekend. He's been absolutely brilliant. I thought he's outstanding.
There was a save at the very end, wasn't there?
And Aubameyang. He's been the player of the year.
Without
he
his
hasn't scored the goals
we
he's
are
scored,
in massive trouble.
He's been very good for us.
He's got captain in fantasy with Aubameyang.
Sound like you're doing all right as well, doesn't he? Fantasy football. You've been linked with Marcelino as well. Shades of Diego Simeone there, the old Valencia manager. He's always traditionally put together a very good defence. So I'm hearing that he's sort of amongst the favourites. Would you rather someone they trial, not trial, but bring in someone like that now, or continue with Freddie until the end of the season?
Our next appointment, we get it right because we've kind of. And it needs to be someone that we're going to like believe in and actually going to kind of bring almost like a new culture, a new like kind of methodology to kind of come into the club. But it just starts with the back. Like we've got very good attacking players, right? It's just we need someone who's going to come in and build a defence and almost like identify a defence that he's going to build for the next 3 or 4 years.
I don't think you can give credit to the end of the season because then you put yourself in a Solskjær position. You give yourself the opportunity. I don't think Arsenal need a temporary manager.
No,
Arsenal need a top-class, world-class manager.
Come in.
The nucleus of the squad that they've got is good enough. The defence isn't good enough. With a top-class manager there, which they should have learnt from Manchester United when Alex Ferguson left. The legacy that Wenger's left there, it will never be recreated. What somebody's done for a club, they should have had a perfect contingency plan. In place for when he was to leave.
Could be a chance here for Ronaldo.
Right, let's go over to Charlie very quickly because it does look like Liverpool might be adding to this game very late on. Shaqiri cutting inside and then blasting it straight at the keep.
What I'm hearing is Arsenal, they don't even know upstairs don't even know who they want as manager.
I wouldn't be.
There's Edu might want somebody and this guy wants that. Similar to what's going on at Everton. You know, Brands wants somebody, Mashiri wants someone, Bill Kenrick. You know, you need to get around the table and make a decision what's best for the football club.
Because I think, kind of adding on to what Paul was saying, it's almost like our 2 strikers, like Lacazette and Aubameyang, their contracts are up, I think, about 18 months. Like, they are not going to commit to a manager that they don't believe in either. No. And it's so important that we kind of get someone in that they're going to believe in just as much as it's going to actually install in the rest of the squad. So I think it's going to be very interesting.
And I'm surprised the investment in the transfer window. I think they shocked everybody in the transfer window. The amount that they spent. Pepe was unbelievable.
Like on the Champions League football,
the amount they spent on Pepe.
What Zaha?
So how would it, yeah.
They should have bought 2 centre-halves without a shadow of
I
a
think
doubt.
Pepe will come good.
I think he's got time. I agree with you. I think he'll be a great player.
Yeah.
And if you play Lacazette, Aubameyang and Pepe, I think, given Pepe time, that will be a formidable front three.
Yeah.
I agree. And we've had a goal. There's something to note in the second half. Wijnaldum scoring a very smart finish there. We'll get Charlie to go through it when the replay comes on. I want Mike's opinion next on Pochettino at United as well. Feels like a little bit redundant to say after Solskjær secured the 3 points tonight, and then we'll get some questions to finish off the show. Marco Silva looking miserable. I feel like most people that watch this second half might feel a little bit like that, but we've had a goal at the death. Wijnaldum is having a quietly very good season. Is he another player who doesn't maybe get the plaudits?
No, he definitely doesn't get the plaudits he deserves. Played against him at Newcastle a few times when he first came into the country, and you could see he was the difference. And then obviously going to Liverpool, he's got his position there, and he's done brilliant for Liverpool. But no, it's a set play out to the edge of the box, passed it to Firmino. It does brilliant against Holgate, slips it back to Firmino, and it's a great finish.
It's a very smart finish. That looked like they were considering going to VAR in the build-up play. Was there a hint of offside with Firmino? Again, I hope not, because Wijnaldum probably deserves that goal. No, not even a sniff of that. So, the Cubs, Pochettino is available. Give us your,
Of course, yeah. I mean, he's always the man that I've wanted, to be honest. I think even after Fergie retired and we got in Moyes, and after a year of Poch at Tottenham the season following, even then it was like, actually, I think Poch would have been the right choice.
He had a
even
massive
at that
buyout
time.
clause, didn't he? So they had like a massive buyout clause, like 30 million or something like that.
At
Spurs, Tottenham, didn't he?
Yeah. But I mean, United were willing to pay that. I mean, that was always on the table, even last year. I think it was just that the situation at the time with Solskjær, he was on such a good run, and the players were buying into him so much that I think there was a sense within the hierarchy that if suddenly a change happened, suddenly someone like Pogba would want to leave. Someone like Rashford was even stalling on a contract at the time as well. So I think.
But if they'd brought Pochettino, would Pogba have stayed? Would Rashford stay? Absolutely. So I don't think that would have been a difference. I just think it was a sentimental decision, wasn't it?
For sure. But when you've got players coming out publicly saying, and this is a problem within the hierarchy as well. When you've got players who feel like they have the freedom,
bold enough to call the shots in
public, saying no, we want this manager staying on.
But they were railroading him to the appointment.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at a list of top-class managers, Manchester United wouldn't even entertain a manager that's got Cardiff relegated and is the manager of Molde in Norway.
It's mental.
You would not. His CV and his inexperience, they wouldn't even entertain it. But credit to him, when he came in, he changed it round, and there was a huge change, so they were backed into a corner. I think that they should have stuck to their original decision, waited till the end of the season, and they didn't. And as soon as he was given the manager's job, that's when the form came away.
I agree.
That's the worry for Arsenal. If Freddie does start winning games,
that's what you're saying.
There'll be a pressure.
It's a sentimental thing.
They can't fall into that trap.
No.
They need a world-class manager.
I think the thing is with Pochettino, as a United fan, if Pochettino was hard now, I'd be very happy. I would still take him over Solskjær, despite the club's seeming persistence to back Solskjær.
Probably defended Solskjær on a number of occasions, hasn't he?
But Pochettino's not the be all and end all. We've had managers like Van Gaal and Mourinho who maybe weren't at the best point in their career when they came into United, but they were top level managers who had top level experience. Van Gaal and Mourinho, two of the defining managers of the last 30 years.
Talk about resumes.
They had a tough time of it, and I think Pochettino is obviously at a better stage of his career right now than those two were when they came into United. But it really is it's a top-down problem at United. Pochettino is not going to be the answer long term if we fail to get an effective transfer policy in place. If we fail to get an effective football in.
There's non-footballing people making footballing decisions, and that's been fundamentally wrong at United for a while now. It has to change.
I feel like Bayern Munich might beat Manchester United to the drop. Of course, Hansi Flick, his bubble's been burst. Bayern lost at the weekend, didn't they?
Apparently they're backing him, though. Apparently they're publicly backing him over Pochettino.
I mean, the shades of the Solskjær thing happening there, the Freddie thing, but they've been long-term admirers of his, haven't they? But not really a club that would buy out a manager's contract. They are quite fiscally responsible, let's say. Although they've just changed CEOs, haven't they? So that might bring a little bit of a hesitancy, let's say. Let's revisit tonight's result. So Leicester winning at the King Power 2-0. Who saw that coming? Manchester United edging out to Tottenham at Old Trafford. Wolves beating West Ham. Chelsea. Dave said it was a fairly impressive result, despite there being an element of holding on against Aston Villa. Aston Villa will probably be pleased, away at the bridge to be in contention with stealing a point there. Southampton beating Norwich in what could be one of the seminal games of the season in terms of sending one of those sides down. And Liverpool, that 7 goals, that looks like a hell of a game, but it all came in the first 45 minutes, didn't it, gentlemen? Wijnaldum wrapping it up at the end. On to the table then. Liverpool sitting pretty, 8 points to the good of Leicester. Manchester City's demolition of Burnley, not enough to leave them in second place at the end, we'll say the end of this game week, but of course we have games on Saturday, don't we? So at the halfway point, the hump day, let's say. But that top 4, we spoke about our top 5 earlier, gentlemen. Look. But let's have a quick look at the bottom, and then we'll go back to that question that becomes asked way back when about our top 5. I don't think Wolves will feature in anyone's top 5. I'm not sure how you can only win 5 games and be in the top 5, but that is the Premier League this season. Watford at the bottom, no surprises there. Even to be 3 points behind Norwich at this point of the season is pretty damning. Everton slipping into 18th, 450 million spent since Mashiri came in, and that's what he has to show for it, apparently. Like Charlie Adams said, about 18 number 10s and an 18th place Everton side at the moment. So let's do our top 5, starting with Dave on this end. We'll give these guys a little bit more time to think about it. Who is in your top 5?
Liverpool champions, City second, Leicester third, Arsenal fourth.
Can't even get onto a 5th club.
5th will be Chelsea.
Roguish shout of the night then. Arsenal finishing above Chelsea
at
this point in the season. Terrible. Let's move on.
I think, Liverpool champions. I think City second quite comfortably. I think they will, they will pull away from Leicester and Chelsea. Then I think third, Chelsea. Fourth, it's a difficult one. I think 4th and 5th is going to be between Leicester and Spurs. I think Spurs will come back into it, and it'll be one of them.
Interesting. I think some very sensible opinions there. Unlike Dave's 4th place Arsenal finish. I've got to say, I think Leicester is so dependent on Jamie Vardy, which again feels a little bit obvious to say. I thought he would kind of slow down, but if he does get injured, Ayoze Perez in the number 9 is a massive downgrade, isn't it? And you start to struggle to see where their goals come from. So if Vardy stays fit, he's a good player, but not necessarily a focal point like Jamie Vardy. I don't think the team are geared to play with Perez up front. So I think an able deputy, but not for a long run. But if Vardy can stay fit, I think 3rd place behind Manchester City, Liverpool champions. Chelsea 4th, Spurs 5th, probably. Chelsea 4th is a massive reversal on what I anticipated at the start of the season. What about you, Paul?
I'm pretty similar to you, but I'd put Spurs above and to 4th. Go Liverpool champions, as I think they've comfortably shown now that they will go on and win the league. 2nd, I think Leicester will fade away. They've not shown signs of it yet, but I think they will. I'll go Liverpool, Man City, Leicester, Spurs, Chelsea.
OK, so Jose Mourinho getting your beloved Spurs back into the Champions League spots is necessary, like we discussed earlier. What about you, Charlie?
Liverpool, City, Chelsea, Leicester, Tottenham.
Oh, I do like Chelsea to finish 3rd, yeah. I do like that. It's starting to sound more sensible than mine. OK, let's have a couple more questions, and then we'll start to wrap the show up, start to wind it down after a very long evening, gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm feeling quite tired. Pleasantly so, though.
We don't want to trouble you.
As he leans back in his armchair.
Give a coffee. Lovely. I've enjoyed every second. Fred Swede's got this one. Obviously, we were talking about managers earlier, the best ones that you two have played under. Do either of you have any interest in going into management?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Coaching at the moment doesn't interest me. Goalkeeping coaching doesn't. But because of the managers that I've worked for and seeing different traits of other managers, I think the man management side of things, the honesty side of things, the management I'd be very good at. The coaching on a day-to-day basis, I'm not stupid enough to think as a goalkeeper I would know everything, I would see everything, I'd have to surround myself with a very good team. I'm halfway through doing my badges, but it is definitely something that interests me in the future, yeah.
Oh, nice. No, it's definitely, I'd love to be a manager, coach, whatever opportunity comes around. I'm just finishing my license at the moment, and yeah, it's something I'm looking forward to, because you feel that you could make a difference, don't you? Even when you're sat on the side, you still want to learn and look at it. And no, hopefully when the day comes I have to retire, the opportunity comes to coach or manage, definitely something I want to think about.
Yeah, not before that stint with David Beckham in Miami, though, eh, Charlie?
No, that'd be nice.
Let's get you out there first. I think that's a great place to wrap up. So, just a quick reminder that you can view all the goals on Sky Sports' YouTube shortly after the game. So, if you missed any of the action, it will be available readily on their YouTube pages. So, let's look at not next week's show, just very programmed to say that. This week's show, this has been an action-packed week, hasn't it, of football, and the best is yet to come with Manchester City versus Manchester United from 5 p.m. on Saturday, December 7th. That'll be our game of choice live on Football Daily and Soccer M's YouTube pages, as per usual. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on. Thoroughly enjoyed your anecdotes. I'll see you two again, very shortly tomorrow at the office. So, nothing special there. Bye, guys.
Speed, but still were a threat. And obviously they make it difficult, and they get players on the counter attack that are very fast. So you always got to protect behind.
Were you surprised that they